It's Fox College Football, and it's sponsored by Volkswagen. Drive something bigger than yourself. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, happy to have you with us, but now it's time for Coley and the coach.
Thanks, Tim. Now, Coach, you've got Chuba Hubbard, he is the leading rusher in the nation, most carries in the nation. How critical is he to your team success today?
Well, he's important. We've got to get him going early in the game, give him enough touches, a chance to break one off.
Yeah, now talk about the defense as well. You know, Baylor comes in, 20th ranked offense in this game. What does your defense need to do to corral them?
Well, we got to try to pressure the quarterback, and we have to tackle well. A good player, quarterback's a good player. They're good coaches. We got to tackle and get them down.
There you go. Good luck, Coach. Thank you. Back to you, Tim. That's the coach.
All right, Coley. And the mullet is in great form. I've never seen it look so good. His wings be flapping in the breeze, no question. Our man, Mike Gundy. Baylor won the toss, deferred, so Oklahoma State will receive. Jay Sedgwick will be kicking away. His first ever game was here a couple of years ago as a walk-on. He does a nice job of handling the kickoff chores. L.D. Brown, a speedster, is back deep, awaiting this kickoff. I must tell you, these old Terry Miller unis, they look a little like the Clemson Tigers today, don't they?
I didn't know you remember Terry Miller back in 77, 78.
Absolutely. Right in my wheelhouse. That's LD bringing it up to about the 20 before being pushed back. As we take a look at the starting lineups for today's game for this Oklahoma State team, the redshirt senior Johnny Wilson is the center. He will be the guy that Spencer Sanders really looks to help with the calls. And of course, Chuba Hubbard leads the way, but there's more there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Dylan Galloway, number 76, is going to be impressive as well. We'll look for him. And then Jones on the outside. These guys will be responsible for helping establish the run game. This is the most significant part of what they want to do. They're one of the most balanced teams in the nation because of what's happening up front first.
Tylan Wallace is also a go-to receiver.
Flag
and go right to him right away. We got a flag down as he is up to the 29-yard line. And we'll have to check on it right away. Our referee today is Reggie Smith. Pickup of 9 on the play as he gets word from the back judge on what the problem is.
Pass interference. Offense, number 89, blocking downfield. At the distance to the goal, repay first down.
That's Jelani Woods, the redshirt sophomore, that was picked up here on a pick.
Jelani's inside here in the slot. He goes down and headbutts the guy at first. I thought that's maybe what they called him on. I mean, he's downfield, no question about it, but he's got to be careful at that height not to go head-to-head with those guys.
Chuba Hubbard right up the middle. He gets to the 15-yard line. And here's the youngster Spencer Sanders, a young man that's thrown 6 picks in the last 3 games. They're trying to get him back in gear. 13 picks overall over the last 5 games. 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions so far in 2019. Trying to get his confidence back is a real catalyst today.
It's about his emotions, though. We'll unpack that here in a little bit.
It's an out pattern to Jelani Woods. And it'll give them 3rd down and relatively long coming up. This is a Baylor defense that runs a 3-3-5 that has improved from 97th in defense against the points from 2018 to 17th coming into today.
Yeah, when those stellar played Clay Johnston, their Mike linebacker, without him in the middle, Tim, who's going to step on this back end? Will it be Bernard at the wheel linebacker who's moved over in that place? Somebody, Blake Lynch, has got to step up and provide some production.
On 3rd down and 6 with trips to the bottom of your screen. Here comes pressure off of the edge. Sanders lets it fly. It was intended for Dylan Stoner. Do we have, I thought for a moment we had a flag, but no, the pass was uncatchable anyway, so no marker. Well, they could have run really in that situation, Spencer. I thought he had room to run for a 1st down.
That's one of the things you got to be able to do. You know, you play to your strengths. We saw this a couple of weeks ago, you know, with Khalil Tate out of Arizona. Don't try to shoehorn a guy into something that he's not. Listen, this quarterback, however, here is a tremendous asset moving forward. He is their future. Big arm, great emotion, got great sensibility, understands the game. He's going to be outstanding eventually. He just needs some time.
Tommy Hutton with a nice punt end over end. It goes 38 yards and a fair catch called by R.J. Sneed. So the Baylor offense will go to work. And up front, their leader is Sam Ticklenberg, the left guard, who, along with Jake Frumorgan, who calls the signals, has moved over to center, will be a real big factor in today's game. And as you look at the specialty people, boy, they've got some playmakers besides Charlie Brewer.
Well, Jermichael Hasty is the guy that you want to watch. He hadn't put up great numbers, but he's got all the skill sets that are necessary. He's a speed guy, not the biggest in the world, but he certainly got an out pitch. He can run away from you if he has to. He can run over you. It's a smaller package, but the physics work in his advantage. I love watching this kid play football.
Their fastest receiver is Fleeks, but Mims is the main target.
Great job of avoiding.
Look at that running capability of this young man. That's a first down into Oklahoma State territory. He saw all of those defenders with his back to him and took off. A.J. Green with the stop. It's a 17-yard gain.
Miga was coming off the edge, number 11, and as he loops around on that little end stunt, he gets right past him. Nice job of Brewer making him miss an open field, making a tremendous individual effort there.
Well, the playmakers are really those linebackers. Miga being really the biggest one of that group. There goes Lovett. Look at him go inside the 30 to the 25, so they get Jermichael Hasty out, and John Lovett scampers for 20 yards as Malcolm Rodriguez runs him down. You look at the numbers on Charlie Brewer. Hey, he threw 3 picks, yes, all in one game. He had gone 148 straight passes without an INT, but last week, even after that, Spencer, he led his team 91 yards and should have really closed it out in regulation and didn't, but won it in overtime.
Tim, that's not uncommon. When you have a streak like that where you don't throw interception, all of a sudden the book starts to get around. People learn how to defend you. You got to give the opposition some credit. But prior to that, as you said, he had that long stretch without an interception. He'll get back off the snide. Nice.
Look at that read. It's Lovett. It is touchdown.
Brendan Costello, number 9, Timmy, on the inside zone. This was just wide open. A directional call. Everybody's moving to their left, not playing with integrity on the perimeter was a bad mistake. Brandon Johnson inside at that number 3 spot. All of those guys need to understand that when you're running the inside zone, you have to step up and make plays. Rodarius Williams at the quarterback position, if you're called in that responsibility, you have to be able to step up.
Mayers with the extra point. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for Baylor. They wanted a fast start because this place has been a house of horrors for them. Fox College Football is sponsored by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And by today's military. Yes, it flows orange here at Oklahoma State. Beautiful campus. We were staying right in the middle of it at the Abbott Hotel. What a magnificent setting that we had. What a great start for Baylor. Lovett takes it in from 25 yards. Second opening drive touchdown that they've had this season. And their defense, again, Spencer, did a wonderful job of handing it right back over to them, forcing the opposition into an early 3 and out.
Well, the drive was impressive, as you said, 3 plays. That's all it took, 62 yards. Of course, eating up just a minute and 18 seconds. That's something you think Oklahoma State would do.
L.D. Brown with the return. Gets it up to the 23-yard line, and that's where the Cowboys will take over. This is, as we mentioned earlier, a Phil Snow-led defense for Baylor that has done a tremendous job of limiting points. That's the main thing. 17.8. And look at the rushing yardage that they've given up. That's the best since a time, really, when Oklahoma State's style of play was completely different, but Baylor's style was magnificent defensively way back in the mid-90s. So that's the kind of numbers that they haven't seen in well over a generation in Waco. There goes Chuba Hubbard. See, that's the thing. I mentioned Dwayne Thomas in the open, Spencer. He flows. You know, he's not a darter. He's not a quick start and stop guy, but he's so smooth.
And the beautiful thing about it is, you know, if you look at the Sam linebacker, Blake Lynch, number 2, he had him dead to rights. And all he did was just bend that thing back and came back the opposite direction to your point of flow. He's a special player.
You hear about Jonathan Taylor so often, the Wisconsin running back, but Hubbard from a statistical standpoint, has done a marvelous job.
See, here's where Blake Lynch is coming. He's in a stack alignment, but watch him come back, and he's playing with great containment up the field, and he gets his shoulder up and turns that back, but Chuba just runs right past him, man. That's instinctive, that's intuitive, and watch him finish. That's what I was talking about, converting speed to power. He finishes strong.
Second down and 4. Sanders has patience that time exercise before hitting Johnny Woods. And that's enough for the first down, so move the chains. It's a 5-yard pickup.
Well, this is what they want to do. They want to win those early downs if they prefer to. They get 5.5 on first down. Now you create what they call run-pass conflict scenarios for the defense. They don't know whether to get the personnel to stop the run because this is a very balanced Oklahoma State team. Want to establish the run, certainly, but they can go to the out pitch through the air any play.
From the 44-yard line.
Great job.
Rolling and throwing against his... That's a tough throw to make, even for a guy with Sanders' howitzer, Tylan Wallace, the intended receiver. You're rolling left and throwing back to the right. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, that's almost like a Patrick Mahomes type throw. Yeah. His eyes are downfield, but you can see he tries to square his body up. Nothing impeded it. It's a tough athletic throw, but to be able to even make that throw, Timmy, you have to be incredibly physically fit, first of all, and your core strength has to be outstanding as well. He did a fantastic job, even though it was an errant pass.
Brown on the stretch play, cuts it back up and gets to about the 47-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 3. Terrell Bernard, the youngster playing for the injured Clay Johnston, made the tackle.
You know, in talking to Coach Mike Gundy, he says he's going to be looking for a lot of different things about his quarterback. This is what they're losing, by the way, on the productive side on this defense. Clay Johnston, 58 tackles. That leads the team, and he's one of the most active defenders in all of college football.
There goes L.D. Brown off that quick hitch for a first down. Well, the thing you notice is the two guys replacing him have combined for the same number of tackles that Johnston is at.
So one guy is responsible for as much production as two guys, and so that's what they've got to make up. It's going to come from different players, but somebody they're looking for to step up on this defense.
I love this logo design on the helmet.
You like that?
First ever look that they've shown. This helmet being one for the first time. Hubbard cuts it back inside. The 45. Burrows down to about the 43-yard line. You know, the logo design is from a former running back here. Gold. First used today, and it's honored Terry Miller, his era, the 1977 Heisman runner-up. Way of engaging their alumni. Look at Spencer Sanders get away from that pressure and then dumps it off to Chuba. And he's ahead of about the 40. You won't find any 3-yard gains that are more exciting than that. Woods comes over to make the tackle. That was just a Houdini act by Sanders.
Well, J.T. Woods should have had him dead to rights. Yeah. And again, Sanders, as you said, a little Baryshnikov move there, baby, to get out of that one and dance for more.
Third down and 6. Oklahoma State trying to answer the Baylor touchdown.
Just a 3-man rush.
Slant.
Nice window.
And it's caught. That's Jordan McCray. Another first down to the 31-yard line, we'll call it.
Jordan McCray playing that Z position opposite of X, and you'll see him on the wide side of the field most of the time. Well, their off coverage is going to be like stealing with this guy unless you got man down in that corner. If you playing him 10 yards off or more, instant 5 yards at a minimum. Baylor's going to tighten up their coverage a little bit. There you go.
Logan Carter's come in an H-back tight end look, number 87. He'll block for Chuba. And Hubbard gets it inside the 30 to about the 27-yard line of the Baylor Bears.
Well, you saw a little example of how Chuba Hubbard can get physical if he needs to and go get those tough short yardages. He certainly can run away and put you in his hip pocket, too. And he's a 5'2" player, Timmy. He's a dominant player. He's not just a guy who you want to put in on third down, even though he kind of looks, I use the term sinewy. He's kind of long, and he gives you the illusion that he's not able to run with power, but he can.
Woods is off sides. This should be a free play. Pass is incomplete, knocked away, intended for Tylan Wallace. Henry Black, number 8, the senior from Shreveport, Louisiana, knocked it out of there, but here's the flag.
Defense, number 22. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Remember, J.T. Woods is playing for Graylin Arnold. We mentioned Johnston out. Graylin Arnold is also out, who's their top free safety.
Well, Phil, Snow, the defensive coordinator, is trying to mix up his coverage here with a late delay blitz, rolling back man coverage behind that. And again, what they're trying to do is take advantage of the fact that this quarterback has had problems recognizing coverage. It's a great idea and a thought, but you can't blow it up if you're charged with responsibility of executing it, as Woods was on that play.
The clock operator, please reset to 7 minutes, 30 seconds. 7:37, please. The clock will start on the snap.
You mentioned Phil Snow. He's 63 years young, will be 64 coming up, and he was actually the defensive coordinator for Bob Toledo at UCLA when Matt Rule was stalking him to become a graduate assistant, and that's the connection between those two. 2nd and 1. LD Brown. That's another first down as this march continues, and it has been a march for Oklahoma State. Very methodical here. Jalen Petrie, number 24, made that stop. 1st and 10. Tylan Wallace back into the game for Mike Gundy. This offense has just been a juggernaut for him. The long period of time he's been here now in 15th season here at Oklahoma State.
Nice inside
How about that? Truba Hubbard. Wrestled down at the 5.
Inside zone blocking, Tim, and everybody's not necessarily manning up. You're just blocking an area in a space. Again, on an island in the back, you got to be able to come. Jordan Williams just get pushed off the ball, number 38. Excellent job by the offensive line here of understanding who they've got to block at that next level. Offensive line did a fantastic job of blocking their 3 down. It's that second level you got to stop.
How about this power look? There's a in the corner. Jordan McCray, touchdown.
Jordan McCray beating man coverage. Again, you don't throw the ball any finer than that, Tim. In the corner, over the shoulders, just beyond the defender, and where only the receiver can catch that ball. Nice little cushion to get little tippy toes in for the completion of the catch. Outstanding.
You almost said toe tapper there.
I almost did. I didn't want to give you credit. You might start dancing up here.
Matt Amendola is in for the extra point. That was a 13-play drive that took 5:29. Untypical, really, atypical of really what Oklahoma State's about. They chewed up a lot of yardage. 43 yards of that on ground, and that was blocked.
Yeah, it was.
And no good. So it's blocked, and it remains 7-6 in favor of Baylor. A little toe tapper in the corner. That, by the way, is the first missed extra point of the year for Amendola.
It was Labor Day weekend. I was
More Than a House, sponsored by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. And you see Boone Pickens Stadium. This is only the 2nd game played here at home since the passing of T. Boone. I had the great honor of meeting him. I know you did as well, Spencer. Wonderful man, and without for whom this university would not have what they have in terms of facilities. Watch 93 James Lynch, just an outstanding playmaker, get up and get his hand on that to tip it away.
Could be very important down the road.
Without question. That'll go through for a touchback. Jake McClure with a nice job kicking that one off. And it is a gorgeous day here in Stillwater, isn't it? It's homecoming, and those Baylor Bears are looking to remain unbeaten. 7-6 our scores. You look at Matt Rule, a young man that has gone a long way. 6-0 starts. Look, this decade, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and yeah, Baylor. That's the most this decade. That's tall company we're discussing here with the Bears.
Well, he's earned every bit of it. I just love the kind of stair-step approach that he's taken to success. Yeah, they came in here, kind of limped into an awful situation and recorded a 1-11 record. Then got to 7-6, and now they're almost as many wins right now as they were last year altogether.
Brewer tries to tuck it and run. He'll get up to about the 25, and he's pushed back Coley Harvey has more on Matt Rule.
Yeah, guys, you were just mentioning, Spencer, the issue that they came in with. Well, barely a month into the job, and Rule actually felt a little overwhelmed with the rebuild and everything, and this got so rough that he called his parents to say, hey, I need you guys just to come down here. They were living in Philly at the time. They came down to Waco, and sure enough, they've really ingratiated themselves in the community there. We'll finish the story on this side of this play.
Brewer's pass is caught on the curl out to the 41-yard line, and Coley, they're really missionaries in a sense.
They are. In fact, missionary in a sense with Rule on the sideline. His dad, of course, a former coach himself. Basically, when I asked Matt about his parents, he says, my dad's on the sideline, and when I'm losing my cool, when I'm really getting after the officials, he gives me one look, and I know what he means. So that calms him down for sure.
Coming on the reverse Platt, and he's knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. Great penetration by Bamiga, number 11, the outstanding linebacker. You see Denzel Mims, he was hopscotching into the line of scrimmage before that last play, and now he's been taken to bench. Hope that that can be resolved, because he's the number 1 target for Charlie Brewer.
He is a number 1 target. They got several targets that they can throw to. This is a 3-by-1 set. We'll probably going to end up taking this inside. They like to run it out of this set too, but I imagine the down and distance will change that.
Hasty is the setback. Quick draw by Brewer, and he goes with a shallow cross underneath. And it's well done to Tyquan Thornton, number 81, the sophomore from Booker T. Washington High in Miami, Florida. That's 18 yards on the pickup.
Booker T. Washington High, Northwestern, some great talent comes out of there over the years. And you can look through his reads, the progression, the eyes moving from left to right. This is his check down. This actually ends up being his 3rd alternative on that 3-by-1 setup, Timmy. Coming underneath, they like to run it. The success of this offensive system is that everything is mirrored. The same formation you see the run, you have a pass complement to it, and it's tough to adjust from a defensive standpoint.
He's 2 for 2 on this route. He'll hand it off to Hasty this time. Look at that. Such a quick burst by Jamichael Hasty. All the balls on the ground, maybe. If it is, possibly Oklahoma State's got it. Malcolm Rodriguez cleared out of there with it.
Fumble recovered by the defense. First down.
Just as he was going down to the ground, he had 18 yards, and then trying to get more, the ball popped free, and it's Rodriguez, number 20, the junior from Wagoner, Oklahoma.
Rodriguez is there to get it knocked out. This is something that Oklahoma State needed. They don't even have double digits in the turnover category. They'll take another look at this, Timmy.
Yeah.
I think they should.
I don't know.
Is a fumble.
I think his elbow is on the ground before the ball came free. This is going to be some hard work for Rick Lumiere, our replay official. That left elbow was down. The left elbow was on the ground as the ball was ripped away.
Yeah, it's tough to see it from that particular angle, but the previous,
right
this
here.
is one. This is the angle that you'll see. But then can you determine whether or not the ball is out on the other side?
No, it's not out yet.
Yep.
Now it is. Now it is. Dean Blandino is setting up shop in place in Los Angeles. Dean, what do you see?
Yeah, it's going to be that left arm, and the question is, does the ball come loose prior to the left arm being down? I think he's down. It looks like the arm hits. Then you'll see the defender strip the football.
Agreed.
It's close. It has to be obvious to change, but I do feel that he is down. You look at the angle there. Watch the left arm.
There.
And then you're going to see the strip take place. So I do think that he is down. But it's very close.
You cannot have a better angle than that. Credit to our guys. Dean Blandino. You see referee Reggie Smith taking a long look at it. And,
I'm just curious if Reggie's going to be able to see through what to me is not necessarily obvious.
Well, it's up to Rick Lumiere, the replay official, to see what's obvious and then transmit it down to Reggie. Look, Dean, I don't. There may be some conversation about the bang-bang aspect of when the ball's ripped out, but there's no doubt in my mind that left elbow's down.
Yeah, the left elbow's down, no question. But again, does he still have control of the football at that point?
Yeah.
And I think that's what Rick Lumiere in the replay booth is trying to determine. And sometimes when we say I think or maybe, that's usually an indication that it's not obvious. So again, it does feel like he's down, but is there enough to change it?
Well, you're leaning in that direction, aren't you, Spencer? That maybe it's not obvious enough?
I think it's going to stand, but I can tell you that there is an assumption that has to occur that the ball is out on an outstanding run otherwise. The ball was out, yes, and then the elbow was down, but I was not able to discern whether or not it was at the same time. In other words, the elbow down, ball out.
Right.
That's what I didn't see that was obvious.
Yeah. Well, indisputable video evidence, and
I saw individual, both of them.
right.
If we're making a case that the ball is out and the elbow down independent of one another, I think it'll stand.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. First and 10. Timeout.
I defer to my analyst, Spencer Tillman and Dean Bandino. You guys were right. It's so subjective, though, isn't it? Oklahoma State's football. Fox College Football is sponsored by Buick, proud partner of the NCAA, and by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. One to watch, sponsored by Credit One Bank, is James Lynch. 11.5 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks. Third best among his peers in the FBS.
I love that guy's game. If he can't get to the quarterback, he's going to get those hands up and affect it in some way.
After the turnover, Chuba Hubbard trying to find his way. It's ahead for only a yard. James Lockhart, number 9, making the tackle. Transfer out of Texas A&M from NSX's. Young man that's really helped bolster the maturation of his Baylor defense. Sanders. Looks like we may have a false start here. We'll have to wait and see. By the way, because of the loss of some of the linebackers, Johnston especially, the long snapper, that young man right there, Ross Matzik.
False start. Offense, number 87. 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
He actually believes he's got a future at the next level. As a long snapper and had given up the defensive side, but after Johnston went down, he went to his defensive coach, Phil Snow, and said, hey, I'm ready. Let me go. I want to play again. I'm a senior. I want to help this team defensively. So your long snapper down in at linebacker. Out pattern. Tylan Wallace has it. He's taken down very quickly. In space, these guys have done a great job. Jamison Houston, number 11 over there in coverage.
At cornerback position, it's an island, and it's very difficult out there, particularly against a team like Oklahoma State. You see off coverage on the perimeter. That's because they respect the speed and just the awareness of what they're trying to do offensively of these Oklahoma State receivers.
Third down 8 for Sanders, the redshirt freshman from Denton, Texas, home of the Mean Green of North Texas. Ryan High School there. Got a big-time future.
Delayed blitz and ran right where they want.
Well, let's see how he handles this. Yes, he got it. It's a first down. Chose to slide down safely at the 36-yard line, a 10-yard gain.
You know, defense is about playing with integrity, and again, Matisic was coming number 46 on the outside. There may be a little. Got to be careful about keeping your head up in those situations, too.
You know, see, Petrie, though, is going to make an aggressive tackle. He whiffed. And the fans are always going to respond on the big board to that. It was a late decision to go down. I get it. The vulnerability factor being what it is. There's a wonderful play by T.J. Woods. But I thought that was a good no call, Spencer.
Yeah, I think when you're that low, I mean, how much lower can you go? You're going to lose the leverage battle. So, you know, unless you squat down and get on a knee, you got to go down with your body in your head. So, but you got to be careful. You got to keep your head up, Tim. It's about image and impression. If you lead with your helmet, that's problematic. You can still lower your body, but keep your head up.
Second down and 8.
But your point is well taken. I mean, you got to play the game. It's physical.
Yeah, guys are running full bore.
Yep.
I mean, you see the replays in slow motion or super slow motion. It's a different thing to the audience, both at home and here in the stadium. Sanders. Incomplete. That's outstanding coverage. A little back and forth going between Jamison Houston and Tylan Wallace over there, too. A little woofing going on. And that man-to-man coverage.
Well, I love the strategy. Again, if you're Phil Snow, the idea is you got a quarterback back there in Spencer Sanders that had some problems identifying quarter field, half field coverage, and why not able to bring some little pressure out there against man coverage in particular. If you're throwing timing routes, this will totally destroy it.
Yep.
You jam a guy with the line of scrimmage. If that ball is supposed to be out at a certain point, 6-5 yards, he's not going to make it on target.
They're playing physically back there. Sanders in the pocket, now flushed. Has has to get rid of it, and late flag comes
I
down.
think it's going to be a holding.
Terrell Bernard came through on the blitz, and you're right, I think that flag will have to do with holding. That's the preliminary indication from Reggie Smith. And on 3rd and long, you'd think it would be nullified. Or
Holding. Offense, number 50. The penalty is declined.
yes, it's declined.
It's fourth down.
So they'll have to punt it away. That was a nice series for the Baylor defense.
Schneider there is that it's 99 actually on that play. Tim, he comes up and gets in there, does a fantastic job of being pressured. That's just a 3-man rush, so they're dropping 8 in coverage. That's outstanding on the back end and the front end.
That's Bravion Roy, 99, senior from Spring, Texas. R.J. Sneed is awaiting this punt. The fair catch is called. Oh boy, that'll cost him about 20 yards. Down to the 12. Well, time now for a T-Mobile game break. Here's Mike Hill in Los Angeles.
Timmy, got to show you this. They stay at TCU, and this run by the Horned Frog quarterback, Max Duggan, bouncing off tackles. Check out this stiff arm. Get off me. And, of course, trying to get into the end zone with the dive. He makes it 46 yards for the score, and we are all tied at 17 in the 3rd quarter. Tim and Spencer.
We saw that youngster in a losing effort against SMU, and freshman kid that's earning his bones, so to speak, in the Big 12 today. That was a great run.
That was an outstanding run. The stiff arm, how about that one, and the way to finish?
Trenton Ebner coming to the game in the backfield. Brewer's in some trouble. Manages almost to the line of scrimmage before Cameron Murray took him down. We'll say it's a loss of a yard. So 2nd down, 11 coming up.
Amiga, again, number 11, eventually comes from that outside position to help clean things up. Fantastic job of coming from depth to make a tremendous play. This was the previous play here, Tim. I think the light had something to do with the sun, probably got in his eye. I don't think he was trying to fool anybody on that play necessarily.
Now that cost him 20 yards.
It cost him, but I think it was a wise choice. If you can't see it, I wouldn't be trying to make an effort to fool it.
L.D. Brown comes out on a little wheel route. Early to the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of 2. That's about it. John Lovett. And Bagbamiga all over the place today. This young man is incredible. He racked up 11 tackles solo against McNeese. Standout performer, well-traveled, born in Lagos, Nigeria, before moving to Houston, then Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Tremendous work ethic, and as you said, Tim, they'll move him all over the place, although he plays at that strong linebacker particularly, but they will move him off the ball and from depth, blitz him. That shows you how much athleticism he has.
3rd down and 8. Into the end of the quarter, Charlie Brewer
This is the end of the 1st quarter.
has led his team to 1 touchdown. Would have had another had it not been for turnover. But Oklahoma State has countered. This one was predicted to be a wire job. We're well on our way. In Stillwater, on homecoming on Fox. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, Coley Harvey. We start the 2nd quarter here at Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater on homecoming. Charlie Brewer, 3 out of 3 for 38. He's rushed it 3 times for 17. As Jermichael Hasty in the backfield. Hasty, who turned one over moments ago, looks to atone and does. Beyond the 30, out to the 32. That's a moved chain 17-yard run. Rodarius Williams runs him down.
A lot of guys up front, arm tackling, Timmy. You got to be cognizant of that inside zone read here. You're engaged, and he's able to make you pay for it with those nice sidestepping feet, quick feet. He's fast, too, man. Legitimate 4-4.
Rodarius, a big-time corner, able to make that saving tackle. Hasty now, a couple of rushes for 36 yards. Does have the 1 fumble. And the slant incomplete. Denzel Mims, the intended receiver. Good to see he's back in there after coming off field gingerly midway through the 1st quarter. Mims still only 1 reception, and they need his presence out there. That will enable bigger plays for the likes of Josh Fleeks, R.J. Sneed, and Jermichael Hasty out of the backfield.
A.J. Green out there, that corner spot's going to be man-at it, and he is a cover guy. He covers like a blanket, Timmy. Love the way that guy covers.
You saw C.D. Lamb on that graphic. Another big day for him today. And Norman just down the road. There goes Fleets. We touched on his speed. He almost got away. A shoestring tackle really by Malcolm Rodriguez, who had the strip and fumble recovery of Jamichael Hasty. This was a tough snap for Brewer to corral.
Yeah, Trey Sterling had him dead to rights. Dead to rights. Look at the fleet feet right here, number 21. Man, this nice inside move there to get upfield. Metcalf, didn't Metcalf work too?
Yeah, Terry
Metcalf, he's got that kind of body wiggle, man. That little nice fleet foot of control. Get upfield verbal, nice speed.
3rd down and 2. From the 40-yard line.
Look at the feet on that.
Brewer, he's got a lot of room to run. A flag down behind him, thrown in an area where you'd anticipate a hold. He's got great awareness, Charlie Brewer. This is a young man, a junior out of Austin, Texas, Lake Travis High School. Like so many in that area, didn't get recruited by some of the big guys. He's with a chip.
Holding offense, number 56. 10-yard penalty to play 3rd down.
That's Blake Bettier, junior out of Utah.
And the thing I like about him, Israel Antoine is working upfield, number 95, and he's showing so much pressure. You see 95 trying to disengage to get out there to get to Brewer. And he's just so aware of himself. And again, he can't do anything about his offensive lineman holding on that play, but just to be aware of the fact you're out leveraged and still have the ability and physical ability to get outside that pressure is impressive.
Well, 46% on the year they have been in 3rd down conversion situations. This is 3rd and 12.
Baylor calls their first timeout of the half.
Fox College Football is sponsored by Volkswagen. Drive something bigger than yourself.
It's been an intriguing game, Tim, and despite the score being what it is, at one point the time of possession was heavily in favor of OSU. 10 minutes and 2 seconds to Baylor's 4:58 at one point. That sense of change on this drive. It's 6:56 now for Baylor, closing the gap, but again, impressive control of the ball.
Brewer, lots of pressure. Nowhere to go. Cowboys were coming off the edge and then later right up the gut. Very strong push. First from the edge and then from inside.
Well, Brewer's athletic and he can move around, but it's, again, number 11 just comes from all over the place. We were talking about the same position and how he moves, and they'll move him around from strong to inside to outside.
Mike Scott was the first one to come off that edge. It forced Brewer to look upside and into the middle. You see a fair catch is called for by Dylan Stoner. A 32-yard boot. Great field position. And let's go down to Coley Harvey.
Yeah, Tim, today's Volkswagen Drive Bigger moment of the game goes to the players at Baylor who actually had a mission trip this summer. The past summer, 22 Baylor athletes, including 4 football players, took a service trip to South Africa as part of Baylor's sports ministry program. That's Owen Rogers, Xavier Newman, Jalen Dietre, and Giancarlo Valentine. And they spent 8 days going across the country. They visited the Apartheid Museum there in Johannesburg and also the Nelson Mandela House in Soweto. This is interesting because we'll finish this score here.
Alan Wallace dropped it. Go ahead, Coley.
It's interesting because, the student athletes actually took a day of service there working at an orphanage while they were down there. And this is actually the first time Baylor has had a service trip to South Africa. They've gone to other places like Brazil in the past. And, I just want to add that when we were talking to Matt Rule yesterday, he made a comment that his players have a combined nearly 900 hours of community service this year alone.
That's amazing. Quick out pattern taken by Wallace. And he ushers himself out shy of the necessary yardage for the first down as they try to control the football. Spencer, you made mention of what they're doing with Spencer Sanders in terms of trying to control his success in the passing game.
That's right. You do that with confident plays. Quick example on that last play. Quick release, 3-step drops out against loose coverage, inside zone read, hand the ball off to Cuba. That's how you get a guy's confidence level back. You don't ask him to sit back in the pocket and subject himself to possibly misreading coverages, which was his problem 2 weeks ago.
Well, they're going to be about less than the length of the football short. 4th down.
I like this decision.
Less than 1 to go.
I like this decision. Again, you're doing something you hadn't been doing all year long, and that's turning people. You've got, at least showing the capability of forcing the ball out. And when you show that aptitude, it tells you something about the players that are playing the game. Defense in particular, Tim, when you see body language, it will tell you where your kids' heads are.
How about this power formation?
I love it.
Back into the phone booth.
Nice read.
Chuba with a flag down.
Unfortunately, it's coming back because of the reach block. It's a holding on the offense. But again, it's unfortunate because they had it.
Holding. Offense number 73. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 4th down.
It's Tevin Jenkins, number 73, the left tackle out of Topeka, Kansas. And that will force a punt formation.
Yeah, they got the junior hold in there. And again, it's unfortunate, too, because they had the right play dialed up, running where the bodies were voided. And 73, it's kind of a mush in there, but you see him reaching inside. You see that left hand
on the
grabbing
pad.
that pad up top?
Yep.
That's where he's pulling that gut back.
R.J. Sneed is waiting at the 15-yard line for the left-footed boot out of Australia. And that one's taken down.
That sun is tricky, man.
Little dangerous, wasn't it? But R.J. reeled it in. So far, a good day for the punter from Australia. I like that music. Fox College Football is presented by Volkswagen. Drive something bigger than yourself. That was the view just outside our hotel.
Pretty pictures.
This afternoon and into the evening.
Fishbowl lens on there.
7-6 our score. 10:42 remaining here in the second quarter. Along with Spencer Tillman and Bully Harvey. Jim Brando. John Lovett is in the backfield. He's the single back.
See what Baylor does on this drive. Today we're only 1 for 3 on 3rd downs in this game so far. Let's see if they can convert and possess the ball along.
Lovett. Great penetration. Stop for maybe a loss of a yard there by Kevin Henry.
You're not going to get first downs like that if you're going to be behind the chains on 1st down. And you got to get at least 4.5, 5 to be in a position where you can create those conflicts on the defensive side of the ball.
So, look at that second quarter stat in terms of what teams have done in point differential in the second quarter. We saw Ohio State last night. They're in good company there. The Baylor Bears. They've had big-time second quarters, but Wisconsin certainly not today. What an amazing victory for Lovie Smith. They probably taking over South Carolina's win last week is the biggest upset in college football. That victory today for the Fighting Lineup. Brewer in trouble again.
Wow, did you see that move?
There he goes. He's got a first down and more. Lunging out of bounds at the 33. That's that incredible competitor in him. Much required.
Great job of eluding. Watch him in the pocket. And I think the thing that's outstanding about him is be able to sense where the pressure is and is not on any given play. But Brock Martin, number 40, is on the outside. But watch the path that he takes all the way around the outside to get to the quarterback. And he recognizes he takes himself out of the play. The quarterback feels that pressure, Tim. It's all about eyes and recognition of where the numbers are, run where they aim.
That's just the football IQ.
Yep, absolutely.
Just as we say it, he loses the ball. Just as we're complimenting him, he loses the ball, but I think he regathered it back at the 21-yard line. That's a loss of 11.
Charlie was trying to do the right thing and pull his eyes back down, but again, that ball got a little bit lazy. You want to hold that ball high. Anytime a quarterback pulls the ball down around his thigh area, you know he's not really focused and dialed in. He needs to keep that ball up in his breastplate area and then try to avoid that way.
Kevin Henry, 33, was the disruptor on that play and helped him lose sight of where the ball was. 2nd and 21 now.
What he needs to do is get instinctive and intuitive. Anytime he releases, every quarterback comes to the line of scrimmage. He knows based on the coverage where it's likely to go.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
What's that old saying? One mistake begats another. And just as we were talking about that football IQ, he dropped the ball, lost 11, and then lost sight of the play clock.
Yeah, an outstanding 21-yard run. Then you come back, lose the handle on it, and it's tough, man.
Yeah, the old broadcaster jinx rears his ugly head.
I blame you.
Well, I blame Petros Papadakis. He mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, he did.
Perfect dialed up screen.
Hasty runs right in to Mbabiga. Eamon Mbabiga has been all over the place. He is as advertised, this young man. Playing big. He was outstanding against Texas, too.
Brendan Evans and all those guys up front, Tim, against that three-man rush were coming upfield. And again, it's a perfect timing to call the screen play against this aggressive rush. They're going to stay in their lanes. It's not a two-gap technique that they play. They're coming upfield, pinning their ears back, but it's perfect using speed against the defense.
3rd and 25. Off the corner. Brewer again gets away from the first man, now the second. And down he goes. The first to give pressure, Trace Ford, 94. The youngster, just a freshman out of nearby Edmond, Oklahoma.
Yeah, out of Santa Fe. Trey Ford, number 94, comes off the edge here, Timmy. Take a gander at him. He's got a nice headbutt technique, arm over, and you got him up, but maybe you don't need that. He gets there, man. Well, that'll make you change your mind.
Mike Scott cleaned up after Trace Ford made the initial contact. Isaac Power boots it away. Stoner with a fair catch. That's Dylan Stoner after the 39-yard boot. Great field position for the Pokes when we come back. At age 52, the winning coach in Oklahoma State history has ever dodged an intellectual property from outside. Sean Gleason, a 35-year-old Ivy League coach, is running his offense. And Jim Knowles, a grizzled veteran who worked for David Cutcliffe at Ole Miss and later at Duke, has taken over his defense now in year 2. And right now, they have done a marvelous job in staying right with Baylor. As you see Tyler Wallace on the receiving end here, and he set sail down the sidelines for another first down. Stop made by Terrell Bernard, number 26.
It's out there on the boundary, Tim. You got to be able to make plays on the edge. That's Blake Lynch, the outside linebacker, that misses that. But again, it's just about being present is one thing, but being able to finish is bigger.
Hubbard. Russell down after a gain of 3, maybe 4. Ravion Roy making the stop.
You're talking about Mike Gundy. He sure knows how to pick him. Again, you remember Mike Yursich, who's now, of course, left and went to Ohio State. He just finds guys who are different, doing things that are inventive, creative. And he's a schemer himself, Mike Gundy. Former offensive coordinator, head coach, quarterback. He loves the game. He loves to find those guys that are thinking different.
2nd and 7. Spencer Sanders is flushed. Decides to tuck it and run. Gets it inside the 30. Down to the 27-yard line.
Great job of scant the field, and then when nothing is there, is releasing. And I think it's important to understand where you're releasing to. It shows you that the quarterback is thinking. Most coaches now will create pass pattern combinations that flood the field the opposite direction of where they want their quarterback to run to, so as to avoid the numbers. As an example.
On 3rd and 1, Hubbard. He has the first down, burrowing to the 25-yard line. You mentioned Mike. You know, you become the offensive coordinator here, you become a rock star.
Oh, yeah.
And one of those future head coaches, Dana Holgorsen, just being one example. First down, Hubbard in the backfield. You see that power set with the H-backs, a.k.a. tight ends.
It's an inverted wishbone is what it looks like.
It really is. Absolutely.
And they'll block option out of that, too. They'll run power out of that.
Haven't called Tylan Wallace's name much of late. Look out for him in man coverage. There he is. Inside the 10 at the 8, and late flag comes down.
Tim, I don't know if that's going to be head-to-head contact or helmet, rather, or holding. That's a great defensive coverage. He's got that left hand in
Personal
there.
foul.
Yep.
Targeting.
Yep. That's what it is.
Defense number 3. The previous play is under further review.
Yeah, that's Chris Miller, the senior from Frisco, Texas. While Houston had him wrapped up, it's the late hit right here, leading with the head, and that is targeting.
Yeah, you know, it involves the crown. It's obviously part of it. When a guy is turning to his side, man, to me, the image and impression of that is not intentional.
Oh, I know.
You know, it's just,
yeah, but that's by way of the way the rule is written. It's still going to be targeting.
No question. And he just Chris, he needs to be careful not to to project something other than just disappointment here, because if in fact he has been dinged, he'll go into the protocol.
You see his reaction.
Yeah.
He's down on one knee. He was guilty of a targeting earlier in the year, was only available in the second half in his last game. And Dean Blandino has our official word back in our Los Angeles studio.
Yeah, I do think this is targeting by the letter of the rule. It's a tough play because it happens quickly. The defender's trying to break up the pass, but he's got to get his head out of there and not hit him with the
review,
crown.
the ruling on the field of targeting is confirmed. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
And then the second time that this has happened to Miller in just a handful of weeks, and you see that response from his coach. He knows
he's emotional too, Tim.
How bad he feels over it because he let his team down. And perhaps the most difficult part of this is the way they have to be escorted off the field.
Well, here's the deal. They don't have to be escorted off. That's something I really don't like about the way they do this. These guys are familiar. Even if they're on the road, they know how to get off the field. And again, maybe in the case if you're the visiting team, but for these home guys, it's not necessary. No, that's not fly here because this is a road scenario.
Sanders takes it inside the 10 to about the 9. Touched on Tylan Wallace a moment ago. He leads the Big 12 in receiving, 703 yards. He has 3 receptions today. He was targeted on that play, obviously. He has 7 touchdowns, 3 receptions total today. He's a guy they look to in these scenarios. In the corner, flat down again. This one intended for Jordan McCray.
See if Kalen Barnes gets called for this. Phil Snow does a great job with his guys on the back end, but I think he did Kalen Barnes the right shoulder pad.
Pass interference. Defense number 12 in the end zone. The foul will be placed at the 2-yard line. At first and goal.
He's got a handful jersey with that right. Kalen Barnes has his right hand all over all over his hand, and Sanders knows it as well. Yeah, it's clear.
Most coaches now are telling their defensive backs, though, and this is one of the areas where Baylor's really improved. Hey, be physical. You know, we'll take a few pass interference calls, but don't be afraid of a PI.
Well, if you're going to make a mistake, do it 100 miles an hour, and that's the mantra that you're hearing more often than not.
First and goal. Quick slam.
Good job. Great defense.
For Wallace, it's incomplete. And Houston was all over him.
Timmy, this is how you play press coverage here on the inside. You got a big receiver. Wallace is able to put his body through there. And again, you get your hand, Houston around it, and punches it out.
Yeah, Sanders is saying it's on him. That's just good coverage. Wallace, you could say, had a great chance of bringing that one in. Chuba! Chuba! Touchdown!
J.T. Woods ultimately was the guy, 22, that kind of stands him up in the back end there, Timmy, along with Jordan Williams, the will linebacker. Together, they were able to get him in there, but that's low man wins, and that's an example of what we were talking about early with Chuba, the ability to convert speed to power. The guy is smaller than both those guys who tried to tackle him on that play, but because of leverage and the burst, the physics works to his advantage. He's able to get in for
The
the score.
ruling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
Then again, maybe. Not.
Well, it certainly looked good. He was stood up, no question about it. This angle will not tell you, but you can see how he was stood up without question. Question is, where was the ball as he got his feet over the line? The football is what matters most here. Football's in the right hand, and it should be over right there.
They're channeling a little Chaka Khan right now. Tell me something good. They're hoping to get a good call. Tell me something good. You remember that, Timmy? You were spinning it back.
Chaka Khan.
Yes, sir.
Back in the day. Chua has put some great numbers together. Top rusher in college football, and really not close.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Touchdown.
It's a score. They have to take a look at it, and they did.
Well, I appreciate it even more when we look at it a second time, because as I looked at it from the side, Jordan Williams, 38, had him actually stood up. You're supposed to win that physical battle there. He's 223, and Chuba's about 207.
Well, they're not chasing points. Amendola will go for the extra point. Remember, the first one was blocked by Lynch. A little more height on this one. He gets the job done. 14th rushing touchdown, second most in the country for Chuba. He trails only Jonathan Taylor in that category. Fox College Football is sponsored by Bud Light. Remind you to keep it crisp responsibly. And by Volkswagen. Drive something bigger than yourself. Mason Rudolph now of the Steelers, and Coach Gundy were on hand for some homecoming hoops.
Turn it up.
Yeah. Last time they were together, I think they both took off their shirts. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Gundy went with the all skins look.
He sure did.
Very proud of that solar plexus of his.
Go along with that mullet. It's good stuff.
By the way, this is the largest deficit that Baylor has faced all season long. Down by 6.
Well, this is obviously a Cowboy team. Played Texas on the road, 2 within 6. A possession game, so.
Well, a touchback. Baylor will have it. Interesting drive coming up. Here's a look at what's coming up on the State Farm Halftime Show.
Coming up on the State Farm Halftime, it was a fast start for the Ducks in their top 25 battle in Seattle. Jalen Hurts with yet another monster outing, and we have the upset of the year. Tim, Spencer, we'll see you guys at the break.
Rob Stone's always got the info, and there's plenty of it. Mentioned that largest deficit, 6 points today, only 3 points in the first 6 games, the largest that they faced. You know, they had a chance, Spencer, to go down for a touchdown to make it 14-6 when Hasty fumbled it. Rodriguez made that big play. Since that time, this Oklahoma State defense has been coming unabated off the edge. Rodriguez and Agbongbemiga making the collaborative effort.
And so athletic and flexible and versatile. They'll use him all over the place.
Second down and 8. They haven't gotten Mims unleashed.
Here's a late delay blitz.
Yeah. Brewer gets out of trouble. This is an RPO. That's Jamichael Hasty. That's right down the sideline. He gets against the grain. Jamichael looking nasty. And Hasty. Can he take it? He can. Touchdown. Flag down. 74 yards. I think he got a late block in the back.
Holding offense number 14. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It's 1st and 10.
He said 14. I think he means 13. R.J. Sneed. Well, no, it is 14. I beg your pardon.
Well, one thing that's not in question is the speed of Jamichael Hasty. Chris Platt is there with the whole call, but Jamichael Hasty showing you some of that breakaway speed on a tremendously executed RPO down the field under a pressure look from this Oklahoma State team. They beat the pressure with an RPO.
Yeah, that was a touchdown waiting, and you see he's not particularly pleased as Matt Rule, but it was Platt, and basically a block that really, or a hold that was not needed. Hasty was on his way to score. Lovett. Nice. Look out. John Lovett down to 5. Boy, what a return to sender drive this is by the Bears.
It's an impressive drive, and they're guessing right, too. A directional call up front on the defense. Everybody stepping to their right. They're going the opposite direction, the flow, and getting tremendous block up front. This is an unbelievable Tecklenburg and company at the left guard position, blocking lights out, Timmy.
Arvell Peel, 31, made the saving tackle of Lovett. It first and goal from the 5. Lovett. Good penetration by Oklahoma State. Thomas Harper coming up from cornerback.
For an injured player.
Getting some help from that secondary.
Tui Hakamaka was in there as well, Tim, and he was in impressive number 35.
Take a look at this nifty play back to Brewer. Just how he turned this into an RPO after really getting out of the pocket right there.
Yeah, Malcolm Rodriguez, the Mike linebacker, actually came on a blitz and then feeling the pressure, moving away from it downfield, and he releases the ball. I think great discipline for the offensive line not to be called for downfield on that. That shows your guys are engaged and they know that they can't be more than 5 yards downfield. Otherwise, that one's coming back.
That's Brock Martin, the injured Cowboy. Looks to be okay. Tui Halamaka, you mentioned Samuela Tui Halamaka bringing pressure up the gut, and then also off the edge, Spencer. These linebackers on Bagbamiga and Rodriguez have just been really the defensive stalwarts of this team that have given Brewer all kinds of trouble behind the line of scrimmage.
Bagbamiga is the guy that really is the thorn in the side. You just got to be aware of where he is. Every defense should have at least one guy that's that guy. Oklahoma State has that guy. They haven't had the overall production on defense that you're looking for, but if he continues to play at that level, they're going to be able to stop him too.
Second and goal. Brewer.
Nice job.
Flush. Down he goes. Back at the 11, and that the pressure coming again off the edge. This time, Devin Harper, number 16.
But it's that guy again, Timmy. Bagbamiga, number 11. He's the guy that's flowing and reacting. They had him in the center of the field here playing the Mike spot, and watch him flow to your right. He reads, now he reacts and bounces, funnels this play back upfield. Yeah. I mean, that's textbook. He's knows he's got help back inside.
It's like Andre Tippett.
Yep.
You know, he looks a lot like Tippett there, the old New England linebacker. All over the place. Third and goal. Chris Platt up at the top of your screen, along with Tyquan Horton, 81. Looks like Baylor's going to take their second timeout.
Baylor calls their second timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
Huge play here. You know, both teams with 99 yards in the air. That one pass that, unfortunately for Baylor, ended with a holding penalty against Chris Platt to back him up. Would have been a touchdown to Hasty. He got 64 of the 99 yards in the air on that one play. But here we are, third and goal with the ball at the 11. You see the formation. What do you expect here?
Well, a 3-by-1 look, and the thing, what I've seen from film study, they'll run out of this to the weak side, but they don't need to. They can't because you got numbers against them. They got to take a look at this.
Forced it up timeout.
Baylor calls their third and final timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
A little chess game there between defensive coordinator Jim Knowles and Matt Rule, and his offensive brain trust led by Jeff Nixon. I was interested to hear Reggie Bush had Jeff as his running backs coach when playing with the Miami Dolphins. And he has, along with Glenn Thomas, the quarterbacks coach, really helped Matt Rule through the course of this year from an offensive standpoint, and we'll see what they dial up here after that second timeout. Knowles, a gifted pressure guy that had been with David Cutcliffe for many, many years, now in his second season as the DC here at Oklahoma State. Hasty remains the setback. Same look, Spence.
Yeah, 3-by-1. Didn't change their mind ultimately, just confirm what they saw. They're going to come back to the middle of the field.
There it is in a tight window and nearly picked off. Very fortunate that was not intercepted by Colby Harvell Peel. So they'll have to settle for 3 here before the intermission.
Well, it was a tough coverage look. You can see his eyes. He felt good about the decision, but there were a lot of bodies in the middle of that, and one of them, Bagbamiga, was the guy had his back to it, but he was dropping back in what we call a zone drop in the middle of the field. He's not going to try to play you man-to-man. They're sending it to a point. And he didn't even have to see the ball. He just has to be in that area where you want to throw.
28-yard attempt for Mayers. There's a freshman from Flower Mound, Texas. Makes it a 13-10 game. 13-10. Baylor has to be thinking to themselves, Spencer, gosh, were it not for the fumble by Hasty while they were in the midst of a long drive and then that holding penalty against Platt that cost them a touchdown, how different a half it might have been, yet they're down by 3, and Oklahoma State is playing very well defensively.
They are playing well defensively, but the one thing that Baylor can take solace in the fact that they're getting these explosive plays, including the 63-yard reception that Hasty gets credit for. And I think the bottom line, Timmy, is if you can move the ball against a defense that's supposed to move the ball, we know that Oklahoma State, it's been noted, has been struggling on the defensive side. You've got to feel comfortable about where you are in this game at any point.
L.D. Brown from his 4. Great coverage by Baylor. Let's get a quick game break. Here's Mike Hill in Los Angeles.
Guys, LSU #1 offense in the nation and moving up in the polls, now second, and the biggest reason why the play of that guy, Joe Burrow, the Heisman candidate, finds Jamar Chase for 8 yards. Burrow's second TD of the game, his 27th of the season, ties him for tops in the nation. It's now started the third quarter, 22-7, LSU with the lead. Tim and Spencer.
All right, thank you, Mike. A couple of years ago, LSU went in there and got spanked in Stark Vegas. A little different offensive look this year. Chuba Hubbard in the game. That's a quick out pattern to Braden Johnson, number 8, a redshirt sophomore. His first catch of the afternoon, a pickup of 8, second down and 2.
Kellen Barnes on the stop. Nice defensive play, not after the change move. About ready to move, actually.
Out pattern thrown low, but received by Jelani Woods.
Well, it's just amazing, Timmy. You can see the natural flow. This is a great catch, number 1. Hands catch, going down and plucking that one off the turf or just above it. Nice.
Sanders on the out pattern to Lyndon Wolf. So a couple of new Cowboys that had not been targeted utilized here with the clock stopped with 56 seconds left. A pickup of 11 on that play. Well, they've kept Sanders out of the turnover zone, which I think was lesson number 1 for the first half of this game, given what happened a couple of weeks ago against Texas Tech. He's been clean, and that's important for the Cowboys. Here he is. That's a design run. And he'll usher himself out at midfield.
Spencer Sanders was trying to get Chuba to kind of be a lead blocker for him. I think Chuba Hubbard did turn around and get a lineman, but I mean, it's just the way that they're actually trying to defend is tough. But here he is. Spencer said, hey, yo, go get that guy right there. That guy that weighs about 200 pounds more than you do. Go block him.
Now they roll out Sanders. Look at that athleticism.
Nice
now
RP.
he dumps it. Down to the 40-yard line to Jelani Woods, and he's out of bounds again. This has been an outstanding drive.
It's about 8 additional yards that wouldn't be otherwise, but for the fact that Spencer makes a quality decision. Again, there's not a lot that's being done up the field. The anatomy of the success of the Cowboys are these short games, quick games, and then they're still working the breadth and the width of the field, putting stress on this Baylor defense, but there's not a lot of vertical stuff. They're going to give him time to get confident.
Did not run on the last play. Will the clock operator please reset to 46 seconds, and the clock will start on the snap.
It'll take 5 seconds off of the clock to make it 46 rather than 51.
Give offensive coordinator Sean Gleason some credit, man. He is painting the field properly right now, putting stress on Baylor's defense. Nice.
Hubbard, look out! Chuba is Chuba good. J.T. Woods knocks him out, and they're on the doorstep before the intermission. That's 40 yards.
It's about tackling. It's about tackle, Timmy. Chuba Hubbard is going to run right through an arm tackle here.
Yep.
You know, Lynch is one of the best in the business at doing what he does, but again, he was engaged, so it made it easier to run through that tackle.
Officials timeout for an injured player.
Even still, if you can run through a James Lynch's...
Players believe that Houston is maybe exercising some thespian qualities here by hitting the deck. They are, of course, out of timeouts. Utilized them prior to that last field goal when they were trying to get into the end zone. We talked about Chuba Hubbard and what he means to the Great White North to go along with the state of Oklahoma. He's in running for the Heisman and should be. A lot of fellow Canadians are rooting for him too. Take a look and listen.
Hi, Chuba. This is Wayne Gretzky, and I just want to pass on our congratulations from everyone in Edmonton. We're all really proud of you. Keep going.
That's pretty cool.
His game is like his too, slick and overboard. Exactly how he plays, man. Slick and overboard.
Best on skates, no doubt about that.
It's not angles, man.
Well, here we go, 1st and 10 from the goal line. They go for the fade.
That's going to be a flag. I'm surprised that's not a flag.
Yeah, he had him by the jersey and no call. I mean, he had a lost shirt tail right in front of the side judge, too.
Kalen Barnes was just, I mean, he had a fistful of jersey. Nice inside release. Wallace pushes off just a little bit.
Oh, you got to call that.
Yeah, I think that left hand may have been hidden behind there, but he's got one hand in his face mask.
You got one on the shoulder and one on the shirt. Covered. Down to the 5. A little jousting is allowed. It's all about does anyone get
30 seconds.
30 seconds. We do not have a clock in the bug that we have in our graphics, so we'll let you know there's 30 seconds left. As there's a technical gremlin at work, so we'll keep you apprised of the time remaining after the timeout is being taken. Well, Sanders only had 38 yards in the air before this drive, and he's got 31 in the midst of this pre-halftime run that they've made since the field goal was kicked by Baylor.
And I think you give Sean Gleason, again, the offensive coordinator, credit for picking his spots and then along the way just really strategically putting stress on the defense. A lot of times when you can get predominant in your play selection, that is going to one place all the time, even though you're having success, you get run right dominant or run left dominant. It's that disciplined coordinator who can still say, despite the fact we've had success there, we'll come back next time. Let's do something different to get everybody on defense thinking about what we can do.
3rd and goal.
Nice job.
Play fake into the corner on the face. Intercepted by Kalen Barnes. Down the sidelines. He's going to step out. Huge play to close this half. Oklahoma State would have had points. Without the turnover, they would have at least had points. So you can take those potential 3 off the board.
Well, Jordan McRae could win this one, but the ball was underthrown. This was a mistake by the young quarterback, Spencer Sanders. He underthrows this. We've seen him throw this, what is going to call a 50-50 ball, but when you've got a guy that's 6'2" out there, 215, that becomes 80-20 ball. But if it's underthrow, you can't make it.
A little extracurricular, too, that may have gone uncalled there by Williams. 38, that's Jordan Williams. Saw the Baylor coaches quickly go over and admonish him. But fortunately for him, the officials did not see it.
A little acting job there, too, on the fallback.
Hasty is the setback. So it looks like Baylor will just take this opportunity to say we're down by 3 on the road in a place where we haven't done well since 1939. A collective 1 of 12. My goodness.
This is the end of the first half.
Well, big day in college football right now. Let's get you back to Rob Stone. Some real upsets. Maybe the upset of the year. They're going to talk about it in L.A. Rob, how do you do?
I do very well, my friend. We absolutely will get to that massive upset in a moment as we welcome you to the State Farm halftime. Rob, Brady, Reg, Matt Urban in studio with you. Last week, the Bears, remember, they lost their leading tackler, Clay Johnson, for the year with that knee injury. So there were obvious concerns that this would be one of those insurmountable type losses. But, Reg, Baylor's D has been big all day, particularly at the close of that first half. And they kick off our State Farm halftime highlights.
Yeah, and Baylor's defense has really been doing a good job in the absence of losing one of their best defensive players, Clay Johnson. And you see why this defense is the #1 scoring defense in the Big 12. I think some people probably expected Oklahoma State to kind of run over them at home, but Baylor's done a great job getting pressure on Spencer Sanders, tackling well. That is not an easy tackle. When you have to tackle Chuba Hubbard, he's one of the best running backs in all of college football. And then at the end of the half, just a great job by the cornerback to take away points. That's points on the board that really makes this a 2-score game for Oklahoma State. So again, their defense is doing a great job. Yeah. I think that's a win for Baylor's defense at that half. They got to be happy about that.
Absolutely.
Sikkim is trying to stay undefeated. And Pistol Pete's boys right now have the lead here at break by 3. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, Coley Harvey, you'll hear from in a moment. Spencer, making this freshman play his best is something these coaches have worked hard on during the off week. How have they fared?
I like how you phrase that, making him play the best. Spencer Sanders is playing his best, mainly because Sean Gleason has done a tremendous job of, look at the throw game here. These are high percentage plays on the perimeter. Again, painting the field to the left and to the right. And then this series of plays will conclude with an RPO. These are high percentage plays designed to massage, if you will, the confidence of a quarterback who was coming last time off against a 3-interception performance. It's Texas Tech. You've got to get him confident once again. And I think he's doing an excellent job of getting Spencer Sanders right where he needs to be.
You see the first half stats presented by Geico. The turnover story being even, but really it was an equalizer in many respects. Baylor was looking like they were going in, and they gave up one. And you mentioned controlling the football, too, is a key factor. We haven't seen the quick burst from Oklahoma State, rather a dinking and dunking approach that has enabled Sanders to have a good day so far. Coley Harvey talked with both coaches. Here's what he found out.
Yeah, Tim, actually, both of them were talking about the other quarterback, or talking about quarterbacks, I should say. Baylor's situation with Matt Rule, he basically said that what they're doing to Charlie Brewer, the reason why they've been able to get so many sacks is because they're bringing more people than they normally do. That's causing some problems for the Baylor offensive front. As for Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy told me that he actually felt really good with what he saw from Spencer Sanders. Obviously, the interception there at the end of the half, that wasn't very good. But other than that, he's playing pretty well. And then he looked at me and said, hey, we're playing pretty well, too.
Indeed. And JaMychal Hasty looks to play well here in the second half. He had a turnover after an 18-yard run that was also emblematic of what was a very interesting first half where, only one turnover by each team, but they mattered a great deal. Rodriguez with the stuff. Reggie Bush made the point at halftime, Spencer, that big interception at the end of the half was points taken off the board for Oklahoma State, and that couldn't come at a better time for a reeling Baylor team.
Well, I think that point is well taken, and I think also to make Coley's point, put an exclamation point on that. That interception was ill-timed. Never a good time for interception, but overall, I think he's done a fantastic job of selling this young quarterback. He's going to be talent. He's the future. He's got a great arm. It's the confidence and the emotional ability to control himself in those situations that matter most. So in this first series, when they do get the ball back in their hands, we'll be able to assess how that impacted, if at all, his performance.
Hasty got ahead for a first down. Ball is set at the 36-yard line. First down. Brewer with plenty of time. Oklahoma State only bringing 3, and Brewer will get what he can before being rushed out of bounds.
I tell you, the only defender even close was Bamiga. He came, as he is often tonight, from the far side of the field, but just excellent protection up front by this offensive line of Baylor. They are sicking them, as you said, big time, Timmy.
Well, that's a very good offensive line. Tecklenburg, 52, the left guard. For Morgan, the center is really extended the intellectual property of that forward wall for this Baylor team. They're strong up the middle, both offensively and defensively. Play fake to Hasty. Brewer.
I got a hand up there.
Yes, he did. That ball was redirected, was it not? Strong move up front by Oklahoma State to get a hand on that one.
Sometimes when you can't affect the ball, the pass, you can put your hand up, and Brendan Evers, the defensive tackle, was the one to get it up there. He's 195 pounds, and a lot of times when those guys are engaged, they don't really show a lot of athleticism, but if they're engaged in the game, they'll see when that ball is released. If they can get a mid up, they can still affect the quarterback.
Big play by the youngster from Bixby, Oklahoma at 6'2", 295. 1 for 4 on third downs, Baylor. Let's see what happens here.
A 4-man rush.
Great coverage, too. Mims, the intended receiver. And outstanding coverage by A.J. Green.
A.J. Green plays that corner. He was into not the boundary, but the short side of the field, which would be the boundary corner.
He was burned a year ago in the game with Baylor, and he knows it. He's been tough on himself all week in preparation, Jim Knowles told us. And A.J., a senior from DeSoto High School, DeSoto, Texas, made a nice play there. Dylan Stoner is back deep, awaiting the boot from Power. Takes it on the run. He's got a little room to run. And he's out to the 40-yard line. An outstanding return. Good field position for the Cowboys. A 43-yard boot and a 20-yard return.
I was wondering when we were going to get a chance to just say Stoner one time. At least Dylan doing it on special teams. Outstanding job of contributing. He'll do it from the line of scrimmage as well, from his inside wide receiver position. But boy, the more you can do, whether it's teams or from scrimmage, it's outstanding.
Back in Los Angeles, Rob is probably thinking, yeah, they were saying that at Colgate back in the day when I was playing soccer. Hubbard smothered right at the point of attack. Only a pickup of 1 for Chuba. You know, he took over as Oklahoma State's primary back when Justice Hill went down in the Bedlam game a year ago. And then in his 4 games as a feature back, he ran for 103 times. Played well in Liberty Bowl, too. Nothing doing again on 2nd and 9.
Justice Hill in his own right, you know, a great star player here. Injuries cut his career short, but I'm telling you, in the era that we're in right now, Timmy, if you've got any skill set whatsoever, and I'm not diminishing anybody's talent here, but you can have success against this 3- and 4-man front, in some cases 2 down line.
Now they read the screen beautifully, did Baylor. Hubbard was set up, but Terrell Bernard was right there. You know, Clay Johnson's got to be really proud watching his comrades. Bernard moving over from Will to Mike, making a play there.
And these players take it really seriously when they're out of the lineup. And again, if you've been a guy like Clay Johnson, who's responsible for as many tackles, 58+ tackles for Coach Rule, you really get your dauber down when you can't go perform at the level you need to. This program is in the process of doing something, one of the great reclamation projects in college football that you talked about.
It's a fake, and it's wide open too. Beautifully thrown to Dayton Metcalf. Tommy Hutton with the throw, and left-footed kicker from down under made a beautiful pass. I mean, he had great form here, too.
Well, here's the up back right here. You can see him slip out. He has no blocking responsibility. The guy that was playing the full pressure on the perimeter came up the field. Metcalf, he goes up and then finds no one there. He almost hits his head on the goalpost. He can keep going, man, if he had a little bit more speed.
Very well-conceived play. Ball at the 37-yard line. Here goes Sanders. Looking for a little break. Wallace with the late block afforded him an opportunity to get positive yardage, but that was well extended by the Baylor perimeter.
He was trying to get outside the edge of that perimeter containment. He was able to get there, but not outrun the lateral speed of this Baylor back end.
Only managed a yard, 2nd and 9. Tylan Wallace has been targeted many times. 3 catches, but not the big play variety. Well, fake punt, by the way, was Oklahoma State's largest, most effective yardage play of the day. Most yards from scrimmage in a single play. Looking long for Wallace for the big-time play. And a flag down. Well, kind of thought Wallace might be targeted, and right on cue he was, working against Jamison Houston, number 11.
Well, just notice.
Offense number 75. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
Marcus Keys.
Marcus Keys gets hold for it. Again, look what happened on the one time that they take a shot downfield. Here's Marcus Keys, left guard right here. He comes down, slide protects, finds the guy in his face, and he just kind of tackles him. It wasn't really egregious, but again, I think the quick game's what they need to stick with. Anything they do that has to develop downfield, they've not really fully executed. And there are a lot of reasons why that is the case, but I just stick with what works. And to this point, Sean Gleason's done a fantastic job.
In this case, though, they're behind the chains on 2nd and 19. Go for the fade for Wallace. He has it this time. Marvelous adjustment in the air, as you mentioned. Kalen Barnes, who had the pick to close the first half, mano a mano.
Tylan Wallace puts that big frame up top, Timmy, and goes and climbs it. He's only about 6 foot, but he played big on that play right there.
Chuba, little spin off of the handoff, but can only get to the line of scrimmage. May have lost a yard. That's Henry Black coming up from safety number 8. Senior for Shreveport's Woodlawn High School making the stop. Woodlawn, by the way, same high school as Terry Bradshaw.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Ferguson and several others of great ilk in my hometown. 2nd and 10. Out of the shotgun, Sanders for the corner again. It's Wallace.
That'll be a flag. Nope. Yeah, there it comes.
Phil Snow is asking his perimeter to play a lot of man coverage. And this is tough, as good as Tylan Wallace is. They are physical, though, aren't they, Spencer?
They are physical.
Pass interference. Defense, number 12. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Kalen Barnes' heels just clicked. You know, a lot of times when guys are looking up for the ball, the proximity of where the receiver is in this case, they just lose that spatial relationship, and the heels just click.
You can make a case that was incidental contact.
No question.
Tough call. Very tough call. But one we've seen made many times before.
Now, this is a touchdown right now if they really throw this quick inside.
Hubbard, Chuba good.
Chuba gets to that corner, man. He does a nice job of sliding and avoid people. McVay was back, number 42, the safety who was diagnosing that play and saw where it should have gone, just didn't have enough speed to get to the edge.
15th touchdown run. He ties Jonathan Taylor for most in college football. Taylor had one today in that losing effort against the Illini for Wisconsin. It all started with the fake punt. It's a fake. It's a fake. And 84, Dayton Metcalf got him going. And Chuba is good, isn't he? Fox College Football is sponsored by Duluth Trading Company. Tough, ingenious workwear designed and tested by tradesmen. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Look at Chuba from scrimmage and the rest of his team. He and Tylan Wallace are the real go-to playmakers, and they were both utilized in that most recent drive.
They were utilized on the ground, but I think there's another point to be made for their success. 6 different receivers Sanders has been able to get the ball to that gets you from a defensive standpoint concerned about that aspect. And that's what makes this Oklahoma State offense special. They are so balanced, so many weapons.
Josh Fleet from his goal line. Outstanding coverage by Oklahoma State. Stopping shy of the 20. Fox College Football is sponsored by Allstate. You're in good hands. Nothing like homecoming in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Beautiful sight to behold. Without question, a marvelous day, too. Chamber of Commerce here in the state of Oklahoma at Boone Pickens Stadium. Another sellout crowd on hand for the festivities as they try to knock off one of the nation's unbeaten. Boone Pickens Stadium. What a long way they've come in the last 33 years when Mike Gutty was the starting quarterback. Over the middle on the crossing pattern. It's complete. It's Tyquan Thornton. Tyquan can go. Look out. Down the sidelines. A cutback and some power down to the 5. Hello. How do you do? The Bears are right back at you. 78 yards.
Excellent protection up front. Again, come out for Brewer, finds him under the shallow crossing route. Got A.J. Green in his back pocket. He can't make tackle. Thornton is in his hip pocket now and off to the races. But what a great job of seeing where he is. Hey, put that ball in outside. There you go. You got to shift that ball in outside hand. I see you, baby. And you got a couple extra yards as a result of that. Just using that stiff arm. Those little skinny fellas, man, he can get away with that from time to time.
He had a big, deep ball pass that he caught against Texas Tech. Here's Hasty. Jericho! Touchdown! 5'9", 205, the redshirt senior from Longview, Texas. Home of the Lobos. Gets that one in. Third rushing touchdown for Hasty.
Beautiful touchdown inside, and what a way to answer again. Outside effort here, the kick out block Outstanding job of trap. Inside trap game number 6. Like you said, they didn't have to change colors or jerseys or uniform. Lobo's same color scheme. He's sitting right at home, baby, in that green, that hunter green.
The other big school of Longview, smaller classification. You know it?
No.
Pine Tree Pirates, baby.
Pine Tree Pirates.
Yeah. Did those games in 73.
Play dirt, baby.
Before NFL games kick off tomorrow on Fox, download the Fox Sports Super 6 app and play Super 6 NFL Sunday for free for a chance to win up to $250,000 of our friend Terry Bradshaw's money. Well, that last drive, 53 seconds, just a couple of plays. First drive of 62, only 3 plays. 1:18 off the clock, so it's been Baylor that's been striking quickly, and the more methodical drives coming from Oklahoma State. L.D. Brown takes a fair catch. Big-time milestone, shocking. Look at this. Look at Charlie Brooks passing Nick Florence. He's closing in now on Bryce Petty. Got a while to go to get to RG3, but we'll give him that.
That's some high cotton, though, man, for the period of time he's been here.
Will the clock operator please reset the clock?
His grandfather, Charlie, his dad, Robert, was the MVP of the 82 Cotton Bowl, and his uncle,
back in 82,
was a quarterback at Texas. Brother Michael played at Virginia Tech and Texas Tech as quarterback. So it's, as they say, genealogically predictable what this young man would do, but that lofty company indeed at Baylor. Out pattern to Tylan Wallace. You can see both offensive coordinators really trying to get their playmakers unleashed. Jamison Houston with the stop. And it's a pickup of 9, 2nd and 1 coming up.
So OSU started this little scoring barrage off with that 8-play 60-yard drive that ate up 3 minutes and 31 seconds off the clock. But as you said, Brewer, and the Bay Bears responded so quickly, it's almost like a role of reversal.
It is. Hubbard, stretch play into the boundary. That's the 35-yard line out to the 36. Henry Black, the stop. As a matter of fact, Smith, to your point, the 2 Baylor drives, a total of 5 plays, 145 yards. That's the 2 touchdown drives. That's only 2 minutes and 11 seconds for both drives. That's averaging 29 per play.
That's impressive, man.
Cowboys lead by 3. Hubbard surveying and staying patient and getting ahead to the 40. That's the thing you just have to love, the instinctual moves of this young man to get whatever he can as a running back.
Yeah, and the coverage look, you can tell by them backing out in numbers when you got a single high safety look. As you look at his numbers, he's over the 100-yard mark now with 19 rushes. He's getting them quietly for the most part, Tim. But I think the balance is what really you're concerned with on the defensive side of the ball. Tough yards he's getting.
Out pattern again to Braden Johnson. Quality pickup on first down. It'll be a couple of yards ahead. Call it a gain of 4. Couple of yards shy of a first down. So 3rd and a short 2. L.D. Brown, the setback. Wallace flanked to the bottom of your screen. Brown. L.D. Brown, boy. That's a shoestring saving tackle that was made right there by Jordan Williams, 38.
If Jordan Williams is not there at his wheel linebacker position, he's still running. Does a nice job, gets great blocking on the interior side, but you can see the lateral movement by Jordan Williams, the footwork out of Paris. Redshirt senior, Johnny on the spot.
Rolling right, plenty of room, and Spencer Sanders will take himself out once he gets past the midfield to about the 48, a gain of 2.
Talking about those quiet yards, and if he needs to make a case, he doesn't need to make a case, but this is the 5th straight game over 100 yards rushing, and the 6th time this season out of 7 games for Chuba.
Massive substitutions here. Officials making sure they have time to get those guys into the extra grouping for Baylor defensively.
You want to make sure Baylor's showing a pressure look here. A lot of times when coaches are not sure they're sorting it up, they'll get run blitz looks and just come after you.
2nd and 8.
Which is what they're doing here.
Isolated for Wallace. Tylan Wallace. Incomplete. Again, outstanding coverage. You know, the confidence, though, in going for a 50-50 ball with Thailand makes some sense. It really does.
And Jameson Houston's outside. He's got that hand up. Doesn't turn around to locate it. No face guarding at the collegiate level.
Boy.
Some people are looking for pass interference on this play. I don't know if that's it. Maybe he could have made a better case for playing the ball if he had turned his head.
That's almost a Tyree Super Bowl catch right there. He almost had it on the back of his helmet. Yeah. Third down and 8. Out of the shotgun again.
Oh, what almost a great catch.
Incomplete.
By Stoner. Almost.
Dylan Stoner.
Watch him go up and climb the ladder, and it would have been an unbelievable catch if he had caught it. Man, look at the delay reach up top.
He got great hands.
Oh, man, he climbs the ladder on that play.
He does.
Elevation.
He's a grinder, sort of a program.
Had a great program out of near Tulsa, Jinx, Oklahoma. He's got one of the great programs in this state.
He's been a repeat captain, and they rotate them in the Mike Gundy system. Hutton will boot this one away. He won't fake it. Sneed with a fair catch at the 6. Timeout, 40-yard boot. 5:31 remaining in the third. Can Baylor remain one of the 8, count them 8, Power 5 unbeatens? Stay tuned. You'll find out on Fox. The ALCS continues tonight, Game 6. Altuve and the judge will be on hand. It's Johnny Holstaff for both teams. Severino and Garrett Cole are being held for a possible Game 7, so everybody is available for the bump tonight. Catch all the action beginning at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. 20-17, ball just outside the 5, and Brewer rolls. Nice throw. Finds his man. That's Josh Fleeks. So fleet of foot is Fleeks, and down at the 25-yard line, a first down, a pickup of 20.
Now they can go pace and tempo again, but let's talk about this throw right here. A nice job of moving him out of the pocket. That running action gives you a chance to get some power, some thrust behind that ball to make it and complete it. That's a tough next-level kind of throw.
Michael Hasty, who had the touchdown a moment ago. So quick.
I just love the way this guy puts his foot in the ground and gets up the field. It's okay when you're able to make a cut. You got a little wiggle in your hips, but at some point in time, you got to decide, declare, and then get up the field.
He was the most productive as a redshirt freshman prior to this year. Back in 2016, he ran for 623 yards that year. Now he's got some outstanding, mature offensive linemen to run behind. Some carries 55 yards today. Steady dose of Jamichael Hasty. And it takes a village to get him down. Stopped a yard shy of the first down.
To give him a little bit more of that. You know, right now, believe it or not, we're in a 3-point game, and you got a 21 play differential between them. OSU has run 21 more plays than they have, and you can see what you're looking at here in terms of leverage, how physical this kid is, the way he runs inside in traffic. He believes he could have got even more.
Yeah, I think he's upset he's not in there right now. John Lovett has done an outstanding job as well. He's, see the old I formation there? Kobe Butler at fullback, and they go with the Bush push. Only not of Leinart, of Charlie Brewer for the first down. They love it when we mention that. I can't see the play without thinking of that illegal play they got away with to help them towards the national title. It's legal now, by the way.
We talk about that. That wasn't 21 or 12 personnel there. It was just one tight end. But again, they'll get in that old school look, 11, 12 personnel. Sometimes they'll go with 2 backs, 1 back, and 2 tight ends. It's impressive. This guy right here knows football now. He surrounds himself with guys that have both coached at the collegiate and next level.
Big time. Love it. Head for a yard or maybe 2. Yeah, you ask Matt Rule about influences in his career. He'll quickly talk about all the guys that he had a chance to work for and with. He was a walk-on for Paterno. You kind of start there. But Al Golden was someone that had a tremendous influence in his life. And he said he only met Bill Parcells once, but boy, was it impressive. And Coach Coughlin, Tom Coughlin, I think probably is the guy that you think most of.
No question when you think about discipline.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Gilbride was another one in there. I've never met a more competitive guy than Kevin Gilbride. Everybody remembers that infamous punched Buddy Ryan through.
There's a pass over the middle in the seam. Nice. It's Fleeks. He's fleet of foot. And no one will get him. Touchdown, Baylor. A flag is down, but it could be roughing the passer. This one may stand. We'll see.
The 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Will attempt to try.
Tui Halamaka, Timmy, was the guy that got the hand to the face. And Rodarius Williams, the cornerback, number 8, was the one that was in the hip pocket of Fleeks. And you saw 4.3 speed there. Fleeks was able to put him in his back pocket and go to Pater. That's outstanding physical effort and talent to finish on the big end.
Well, they fell down to open the second half by 10. The largest margin, largest deficit they faced all season long. And they've responded with the quick strike and explosive plays. Fleeks, fleet-footed. 24-20 Baylor. A tremendous response here. Look how quickly he got open.
Well, he got open because of the off coverage. Look, there's no one there. So 10 yards down the field, he cuts off the little in cut and turns it into kind of like a post route, and he's gone and head for it. Fleek shows you why he's able to separate himself. He's got tremendous speed. Rodarius Williams, the cornerback, number 8, 10 yards off the ball. All you got to do is turn and look, present your numbers, and the ball was delivered on time. Didn't have to break his stride. That's what you want if you're a receiver.
Yeah, Rodarius Williams, by the way, was a track star in high school at Calvary Baptist. So
he just ran from him.
Yes, he did. And the Bears lead by 4. Let's go back. Here's a throwback to 1983. Pretty good quarterback of his own. Troy Aikman won the best player in camp. Jimmy Johnson was the head coach here at Oklahoma State. This was the first time Jimmy failed to get Troy Aikman. There were others.
Yeah.
By the way, that was not his competition next to him for the number 1. And who was the third-rated quarterback that same year? It was this man, Mike Gundy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the Henrietta Hens, that's where Troy Aikman went to school here in Oklahoma. The Henrietta Hens.
Juba Hubbard had for a couple when Coach Gundy came into our meeting. He says, how long have you been doing this? I said, well, since you were the starting quarterback in 1986 with a freshman named Sanders and a junior named Thurman Thomas. This place was a little different back then. How it's grown and this marvelous setting. The president of this university, Burns Burgess, has got to be so proud of what they've been able to do the last few decades. As an institution, there's a marvelous move by Spencer Sanders as he ducks under, slides in safely around the 30-yard line.
Well, Mike Gundy was throwing it for Midwest City Bombers. Up in this part, he was not taking shots like that. He was slinging it around a lot more than we are right now, but he was an impressive quarterback. I remember being around when he was playing.
Hubbard shy of the first down by almost 2. Stopped by Terrell Bernard. You know, one of the things Mike was talking to us about, too, was what Boone Pickens meant to him and meant to this program and the development of this campus facility. We've got an injured Bear. That's James Lockhart. But T. Boone Pickens, Spencer, and you're from this state. You're from Tulsa. You know all too well how this place has had such a makeover over the last 3 decades.
Well, you know, T. Boone Pickens was an iconic figure for a lot of reasons. Everybody in the oil and gas industry knows who he is, but he was able to cause a pivot in the wind space, alternative forms of energy, and he was just an impressive leader. And I think that's what we saw coming from Mike Gundy yesterday, talking about facilitating facilities here, building the stadium out, and getting resources to wherever he needed to turn this program around.
So there were a few homes in the area, and he said, listen, as any capitalist would, he said, well, listen, we just need to get rid of these houses and these houses. I'll just go pay 3 times what these houses are worth, and we'll get the...
It's a deal you can't refuse, right?
You cannot refuse that. That's how they were able to extend this facility. Lockhart is coming off under most of his own power, which is good news. James is one of the transfers we touched on that has meant so much to this team and its maturity. The senior from Texas A&M that made his way over. But I can tell you from having been here to do a game in '86, this place looks nothing like it once did. And that's a great compliment to not only the memory of Boone Pickens, but the leadership currently here at Oklahoma State.
Well, Mike Gundy is driving a lot of that leadership. I can tell you that straight away. And there's so many things, intangible things he's doing to improve this program that are beyond our purview. But it's certainly helped.
Tommy Hutton with an end over in boot. The Rossi. And it heads out of bounds. By the way, with more on the guy that pulled out that bag of tricks to lead to a touchdown with the chicanery. Let's go down to Coley Harvey on Hutton.
Yeah, Tim, Tom Hutton is actually one of the more unique stories on this Oklahoma State roster. You know, for starters, the guy's a freshman. He's 29 years old, and he's married. And it's that fact about him being married that's that kind of interesting. During preseason camp, you know, the coaches were doing bed checks with all the players. Well, his wife was actually with him, and they quickly learned, Mike Gundy said earlier this year, that he quickly learned that he didn't need to do the bed check because the good husband was always going to be there right on time.
Well, that's good stuff right there.
It was another good day and good night. That pass up ahead to R.J. Sneed. Gets ahead for 5. We'll call it 2nd and 5.
Baylor, though, quietly, though, with 402 yards of offense, Tim, they're putting it together. I mean, it's amazing that they've been able to keep this game tight, almost down 2-1 at one point in terms of number of play they were able to get off successfully.
They've done it with big plays,
yep,
Spencer.
Man, that's exactly what they've done.
64, 78, and 63. That's how they've done it. Hasty, a change of direction. Head from the 30 to the 32. Will be about 3 yards shy of a first down.
Brewers lights out, 8 for 12, 261 yards, and that TD. I mean, he's a big part of why they were so successful, and those big plays come in on the seam, and then the post route, just a huge asset for this offense.
You know, he threw it 37 times a week ago. Much more judicious today.
Which is a bit of a surprise, you know, considering how weak the Oklahoma State defense was coming in certain categories.
Well, the shotgun, here's pressure. Dumps it underneath. Shallow cross to Hasty. I don't think he got more than a yard, maybe 2 at best. Obi Harvell Peel with the tackle, and they'll be shy of first down. 4th and 1 as the quarter comes to an end. How much fun is this, huh? He thinks it is. Trying to stay undefeated and out of the witness protection program that is the college football landscape.
Not you.
Look at that.
It's amazing.
38 straight games they've won leading in the 4th quarter. We'll see what happens here. Lynn Stoner back deep.
Nice punt.
Has him on his heels, and it lands like a pitching wedge. That is a pretty effective punt by Isaac Power. A freshman from Castle Rock, Arkansas, gets the job done. Magnificent star out of the 2018 U.S. Army All-America Bowl, and was one of the highly thought of coming out of high school. That's 59 yards. It backs up Oklahoma State to their 7.
The numbers into that last quarter, this quarter, have been impressive. You know, Baylor gained 198 yards of offense in that 3rd quarter, Tim, and it's consistent with what we're seeing in the score. And the data you just gave a minute ago about being in a position to close out. And I said in the 3rd quarter earlier that I got the feeling that Matt was trying to set this up for a close finish to win that way. He's totally flipped script on Oklahoma State.
This is the guy that's the difference maker. As you mentioned at the top of the show, Spencer, how do you help a freshman quarterback? You give it to Chuba. And Chuba Hubbard, well over 100 already today, picks up 6 right there. 2nd and 4 coming up.
Well, Baylor's been impressive on defense for the most part, but this guy right here, number 30, is a dominant player. He's not an average or a good player. He's a dominant player. That's what they've got to be concerned about.
Spencer Sanders, room to run to the field side, and he'll get a first down. A lot of people around the country were thinking, well, with a week off, Oklahoma State smarting after a loss. Baylor, who've they really beaten? A lot of close games. Probably the same being said about Minnesota, too, out of the Big Ten. And
yeah, well, you know, if you give Mike Gunn 2 weeks to prepare, he's one of the best schemers in all of college football. And we've seen a lot of creative things as we look at this 4-by-1 or 4-by-1 look here, a 4 vertical look. But you're going to see something exotic before this quarter's over.
Hubbard on the stretch play. Puts it back in. Beyond the 25 to the 28-yard line.
So that's a winning play, Tim. If you can get 7, 8 yards on first down like that, I mean, that's just impressive. Now you're behind the chains on the defensive side of the ball. You're dropping. You're slowly taking time off. Baylor's defense is on the field. And they look like they're well conditioned, but from a psychological standpoint, your offense is not on.
Well, they've gone,
nice vision.
they've gone down in the depth chart too, Spencer. They have some 2s and 3s out there. And one of the things that Bill Snow told us is that they've improved defensively. 7 senior starters, but number of the backups are in here.
Against the 3-man front, that's where the holes are going to be, Timmy. There's no one over the guards, just the nose tackle. That's where a good judicious back is able to find some plus yardage without even working too hard. 25 carries. That's about the pitch count for him for 125 yards. It'll add to the total. Nice. That is L.D. Brown. That's in for Chuba. L.D.T.D. Timmy, you talk about making people miss in the phone booth. Look at Lynch on the outside. Number 93, the defensive end, goes right between his hands. A couple of guys. Him Black is back there trying to make a tackle as well. He runs right through it. His head is down initially, but he comes out of that one like a sprinter out of the blocks with that head up and those arms looking functional like Carl Lewis coming down the sideline, baby. Sweet.
68 yards. 78. Prior to that in the season, now 68 on one play. Yeah, we got a good one today, don't we? Fox College Football is sponsored by Pacific Life. 150 years strong, protection and retirement solutions for your future. And by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Finsville.
Tim, there are 11 individual battles going on all the time. Take a look at 93, James Lynch. He's beating Tevin Jenkins 73 here, but the instinct of L.D. Brown to go around that block and then to make Black miss in open space. I'm telling you, being able to diagnose that play and get upfield and then outrun anybody on the back end, that is impressive. That is an end-to-end solution as a running back.
Maybe it's the uniform, Spencer, but did that not look a little bit like Travis at the end?
Yeah, it did.
Just taking off downfield for another Clemson touchdown? That's what it looked like.
And that orange, too.
So the touchback will give Baylor yet another opportunity. Each time they have been put in a position to respond, they have.
That's been incredible to watch. I mean, just the nature of how each team is able to do and respond to exactly whatever the other team is challenging.
And explosive plays. Now, Oklahoma State being in on the act with that 68-yard jaunt by L.D. Brown.
And that scoring drive was 5 plays, 93 yards. Only ate up 1 minute and 53 seconds. Both these teams demonstrating big strike capability.
So Michael Hasty is the setback on first down. Brewer.
Nice.
Over the middle. There he is again. Josh Fleeks. Do you have enough to haul him down? He reverses field. And settles in at the 32-yard line. Bernard, Jarek Bernard, 24. Got a little whoop and another whoop, and then got him down.
I hear you, Timmy. Love it, baby. That safety was coming over. You can see, here's a look at it. They're bailing out, just rushing 3. So you got 8 defenders on the back end. For Brewer to be able to see over that coverage is outstanding.
They roll him out, and he gets R.J. Sneed on the out route inside the 30. Let's go back to here.
Again, Timmy is just a great job of understanding what's happening with coverage. The closest guy to him is about 5 yards, big cushion. He's trying to get more after of it. And being totally engaged. I mean, every time he put his body in a position where it was vulnerable, and guys say that I harp on this a lot, I do. He actually flipped the ball to the hand, opposing where the pressure was coming from. So to protect himself and get additional yards and not fumble.
Fleeks with a little get the funk out of my face. Yeah. A little get the funk out of my face. He was moving and grooving there. Right. 3 receptions, 128. Nice down the sidelines and a penalty flag down. Denzel Mims, the intended receiver.
A.J. Green was trying to come back there, but I think that little incidental contact, it was more than incidental. The way the official is going to see this is pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense, number 4. Spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
A.J. Green is competing here, Tim, and he's coming back again. You know, I don't know. I'll let you fight on that thing because those are 2 warriors going after one another right there.
You wonder sometimes the adage of who's getting a competitive advantage. Okay, that is in theory what PI, what pass interference is supposed to be about. Usually that much jousting can at times be allowed.
Well, you're going to find out what it does right here in a 3-by-1 look.
Hasty, Michael bouncing off a couple of Cowboys and inside the 15 to the 12.
A lot of times when you have that kind of a call, you want to see how emotional you test the resiliency of the player. A.J. Green would have been nice to come back his way and see how he responded to that disappointing penalty.
Looking at Mike Gundy, you get the feeling, don't you, that this may be one of those games where defenses have played as well as they could not stop the big play, and maybe who has it last gets the W. Second set. Well read by Chris Platt with a receiver, but boy was that well read. Trey Sterling, the rover, who is a guy that jumps off the screen when you're scouting this team. 25 tackles in the last 4 games.
Or that putting this outside shoulder up the field so that he would influence the runner to come underneath him where he had immediate help.
Loss of 4, 3rd and 12. Trips receivers to the bottom of your screen. Fleets is in the slot.
Got 126 yards, does Fleets.
Looking for the end zone. Mims. Flag down. Mims had a step on Rodarius Williams.
I think Rodarius Williams was not mindful of the fact that the receiver was trying to come back to the ball. Nice, long cushion. Mims with the double move. Rip underneath, chop those arms down.
Pass interference. Defense, number 8. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Mims did a nice job, I thought, Spencer, of helping induce that flag by coming back to the ball and appearing as though Rodarius Williams was running through him.
Well, Denzel Mims is a tall guy. He's 6'3", 215 pounds. So not only is he tall, but he's strong and physical, Tim. Had a similar catch like that against Iowa State.
Well, Oklahoma State's in trouble with their lineups. They may have too many men out there, not enough. And you see the whistle. Did we get a timeout?
Prior to the snap. Timeout. Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they needed that timeout. They were in trouble, and they knew it. We'll be back. Fox College Football is sponsored by Volkswagen. Drive something bigger than yourself. Huge situation now with the ball at the 2. 1st and goal. Baylor trailing. John Lovett in the backfield. He's dotting the I behind Colby Bullard, the fullback, number 38.
They need to go short motion 91 if they're going to run power to the right.
Solon, the tight end, 91. There he is. Stoned at the line of scrimmage. Big time. They were ready for it that time. That's Bamiga. And Devin Henry, 33 and 11. And, of course, number 11 has been all over the place.
Well, they tried to run weak. In other words, the tight end is going to declare what the strength of this formation is. And they didn't want to run into the teeth of it, but they ran weak, and the numbers still got them. Flowing linebackers, taking on blocks, outstanding. Matt Rule needed to look for an alternative on that move.
I understand this. Rule wants to play power.
No question about it.
He does.
Again, sometimes you guess wrong down here, and the only way to do it is to put that tight end in motion and run to the numbers, or away from the numbers.
See if the formation helps this time when they go spread. Brewer in trouble. He's ahead to about the 2.
Right.
Rodarius Williams, number 8, makes a stop. So excellent discipline by Jim Knowles' defense.
Got to stay home. Rodarius Williams, number 8, out of Calvary Baptist. You can see him off the ball. Comes up, you got inside containment. Guys doubling up on that side of the ball, showing you that they're able to work in tandem to deny a score.
Well, what's that old saying? One play sets up another. What do you see here?
Well, I see the trip side right here. I've got maybe a switch route combination with the receivers. That number 3 that's sitting on the hash, or in between the A and the S. This is a touchdown. If you look right now, boy, you got to get it ball out.
Here he goes, Brewer! Touchdown! Charlie Brewer takes it in. It was an option runner pass for Brewer. And he chose to tuck it and go.
Well, he was looking for a pass opportunity. It was actually in the inside slot. He didn't have it, waited till things sorted out, and then decided to take it himself. Great decision, but if you're going to commit to the throw, you need to get that ball out immediately because the slot was wide open.
You do recall in regulation last week, with a lead, he threw a pick at about the same spot on the field. That may have been in his mind as he decided to take it himself. His 6th touchdown run. He also has 12 touchdown passes. Oh, Charlie, getting it done. How's that for efficient, Spencer? Look at those
pretty
numbers.
Impressive, man. 312 yards. That's outstanding.
On just 17 throws, his decision-making and leadership is just through the roof. And, of course, Mason Rudolph was one fantastic leader here in a long lineage of outstanding quarterbacks going back to Brandon Wheaton, really, who's still got one of the greatest arms in the league. And Mason, of course, pressed into duty in Pittsburgh as a quarterback. Already in his rookie season. Here comes L.D. Brown. His last touch was a 68-yard burst. He gets it out to the 27-yard line. So 3 lead changes in the last 9.5 minutes. And our Pacific Live game summary will tell you, Spencer, it has been back and forth since the outset.
Well, Lovin started it off, Timmy. He got the ball rolling. And then, of course, McCray went good. The Cowboys came right back with some pinpoint passes. And then what can Brown do for you? LD shows you what he can do for you. And Brewer says, hey, I got something, too, in my hip pocket.
Chuba Hubbard head to the 30-yard line. And, you know, Hubbard had taken 2 runs to get them outside the 20-yard line. The drive started at their 7, and then they snuck LD in there for the one big play. And as you mentioned, they were able to isolate Lynch, get him out of the way, and then a missed tackle by Henry Black, Abel Brown, the 68-yard score. Hubbard to the 32.
Now, what Oklahoma State has got to be mindful of, and even if you're a running back versus a 3-by-1 formation, when you got 3 defenders and a safety, that means 4 people are to the side where the 3 receivers are. The numbers are running to the inside, north and south against that look.
3rd down and 5. Sanders in trouble. Ball is loose. Wow. It's picked up by the Bears. It's Terrell Bernard. It's touchdown.
Timmy, it's all about ball security, being mindful. Aguinaldo is the guy that got to him. He's being held and able to get the release, get a hand on that ball and punch it out.
Yep. Chidi Obanaya with a big, you know, anytime you see that quarterback, Spencer, in a position of, okay, where do I go? You know the coaching staff is going, oh, no, not again.
Well, it comes back to how do you see the ball properly, particularly when you begin to improvise. You have to hold that ball up around your breastplate. And it's uncomfortable, but it lets everyone know, including yourself, that you are protecting it. When you pull it down to run, all 3 points of pressure are lost.
Well, with Johnston out, one of the things Phil Snow told us was we've got to create pressure points for the freshman quarterback. And in the end, that could be the difference. Well, right now, it's given them an 11-point lead with 8 to play. Fox College Football is sponsored by Wendy's, the official hamburger of NCAA football. Amazing, Spencer, to think that they can dial up pressure with 3 coming.
I don't think it's a Wally Pip scenario coming in, but Terrell Bernard is in, of course, for Clay Johnston, and he scoops this one up and scores from that Mike linebacker position. But that's what you need to do when your superstar is on the schneid or hurt or whatever the case may be, he's not in the lineup. You need some of these second-tier players to come in and play at a higher level, and that's what you saw on that play.
And what had been a clean game for Spencer Sanders at the interception right before the half, and then that. Well, time now for a quick game break. We go to Amber Theo Harris in Los Angeles.
Tim, 112th meeting of number 12 Oregon and number 25 Washington. Last chance for the Huskies on 4th and 3, and Jacob Eason's pass incomplete to Puka Nacua, and the Ducks hold on to win 35-31. They are now 6-1, Tim Spencer.
Absolute must-win, Amber, for Oregon. to stay relevant in the chase for who's in from the Pac-12 point of view. Chuba Hubbard is in the backfield as we bring you back here to Stillwater. See if there's some big plays in here. Look out! Chuba in the Baylor territory at the 45-yard line. Jordan Williams, the saving tackle. They will not go quietly on homecoming in Stillwater. 31 yards on that run.
I told you he's a home run hitter, Tim. He's almost like he's feeding off his battery mate.
30 yards on that run. Play fake. Sanders.
Nice.
Down the seam and complete.
Better defense.
That was Logan Carter, 87, the intended receiver. Here's that run again.
Yeah, Henry back defending, but here's the run again with nice stiff arm. You know, Chuba is an outstanding player for a lot of different reasons. Despite his length and the range that he looks like he's not the big physical guy. He's running through tackles right there. You know, today's game is kind of like basketball on grass. 2, 3 down linemen. If you can get past that first wave, everybody else is reaching at you.
Hubbard again. That last run that we just showed the replay of Spencer, again, you have to be old enough to remember.
Oh, yeah.
But that's Dwayne Thomas.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Look at any old Dallas Cowboy reel of Dwayne Thomas, number 33, who replaced Calvin Hill, a great back in his own right.
And I'll go, if he gets the ball here, I'm going to go another guy that wore that same number that looks similar to him.
Down the sidelines, Tylan Wallace. He had a little company back there. Jamison Houston was in coverage, but he had some help over the top from Henry Black, number 8. Crowd wanted a flag. They won't get one.
Nice outside release, man. Hand was on the shoulder, though, man. That's...
Yeah, you know what? That very easily could have been and maybe should have been pass interference.
Houston could have got called for that one very easily.
So subjective.
Yep.
The pass interference call, both offensive and defensive interference, really is.
Timeout. Oklahoma State. Their first.
Well, that should tell you this is a huge fourth down coming up. (38-27), fourth down coming, and this timeout, Spencer, I think underscores just how important this may be, 4-down territory or not, in your opinion.
Well, Sean Gleason wanted to think about it a little bit, but I saw Spencer Sanders' reaction. He was trying to get the play in and go tempo on these guys because he felt perhaps the personnel matchup was what they needed to have success. So
they are 7 of 11 on the season on fourth down conversions, 1 of 1 today. And the thing you've got to be concerned with, it's good for 64% on the season. You don't know how many touches of the ball you're going to get, and you're down 2 scores. So, to me, that signals go for it, and you got to get at least 3 points, probably 7, to keep this thing going. And Chuba Hubbard is checking out there, along with his quarterback, Spencer Sanders. And in many respects, you could say this play
is significant. This is
it could be the game.
Yep. There's a pressure look.
Yeah, off the edge. Curl, caught by Wallace. Not. Is it? Yes, it is. Right on the line to make. So a big fourth down conversion. 8 yards. They needed 6.
Excellent athletic catch. Kalen Barnes out there defending. Couldn't break it up.
Hubbard trying to run wide and cuts it back in. He's just got such great vision and cutting ability. Henry Black comes in to make the stop. Only gain of 2, but there was great penetration by Baylor.
He broke 2 tackles there. I mean, 2 guys should have had him in behind the line of scrimmage. Again, he's just an excellent slippery runner. That other 30 I was telling you about, guy down the road at Oklahoma, Steve Sewell. Some of you old timers will remember number 30.
Absolutely.
Remember Denver Bronco.
Quarterback draw, design run all the way for Spencer Sanders. He got some explosive capability himself.
He's had runs of 31 and 30 yards today, so he's got huge runs. Timmy's explosive. I mean, but again, he gets those tough yards inside when you need him as well.
There's that power look, inverted wishbone, as you like to call it. It's Hubbard again. And his momentum alone got him a couple, but middle. And fourth down yet again. So here they are again in a must-make situation on fourth down and 4. And again, went 2 for 2 on fourth down conversions today.
Matt Rule wants to make sure he's got right personnel in the game, and believe me, Sean Gleason and Mike Gundy know what they want in these situations. They may call a timeout, but
Cowboys take it.
Oklahoma State calls their third and final timeout of the game. A 30-second timeout. Will the clock operator please?
Last play really was inside the phone booth, Spencer. What are your thoughts on this 4th and 4?
Questionable call, first of all, to run inside that. Is, now you need 4 yards to do it. I think they've got to take a shot upfield. Maybe give them a 4 verts look to spread things out a little bit, and then maybe get something short underneath. If you get off coverage, it's a right now throw.
Well, this is your ball game right here.
So you got the coverage that you're looking for. The inside slot guys are where you need to go because you got to get it out.
Sanders lets it go deep, and it is incomplete. Wallace, the intended receiver. Black was over in coverage. Boy, you could question the entire series, really. After the first 4th down conversion, very conservative play calls, and then you go for all of it instead of the line to make.
Well, the difficult truth here, this was what we call a Dino, a slant go, and it was overthrown, Tim. That's just it. And that's on Spencer Sanders. It's the second time today where he's had a possible sure touchdown and just overthrew it. That's one of execution, and it comes back to emotions. Your emotions have to be in check. Everything has to be routine.
Isn't that a little risky for a freshman quarterback?
It is risky, but the bottom line is, Tim, that's what they practice. That's what they want to do. Now, I would have gone straight to the slot because it was open. You had 10 yards off coverage, turn, present your numbers, or just keep them on a slant and keep them going. I think you had a sure first down.
Well, now you're out of timeouts, and 1 first down, and this thing is over. Jermichael Hasty, he may see to it with an exclamation point. Wow! Jermichael Johnson to the end zone. Some exclamation point. 73 yards.
We talk about a hasty response. That was quick. Here's a hiccup. Just a 3-man front. You expect it necessarily. I don't know why you would do that because, again, you know that they're probably going to try to run out. Not trying to throw the ball with the lead. You're trying to milk the clock in that scenario. I'd get as many bodies around the ball or the line of scrimmage as I possibly could. I don't think that was the perfect defense to be in for that, evidence by the outcome of that play. And Mike Gundy's got to watch this guy race down the field and put him in a major hole.
Well, the Longview Lobo goes for 135 yards today on 11 carries, 12.3 per tote. And that 73-yarder puts this one away. What has been a very close back-and-forth game. Oh, those decisions you make and how deflating they become. That was a deflated Oklahoma State defense in that sequence. 45-27, Baylor with a score now that if you pick up just a paper or look on the internet tomorrow, you'll say, oh, they really dominated, really handled. And you know what? In many respects, from a statistical standpoint, you can make a case for that. But this game back and forth, it was right there for Oklahoma State, but trailing by 11 and failing to convert on a 4th down, a curious play call leading to that 4th down, and certainly on the 4th down play. And that's the response you get from Jermichael Hasty. Fair catch is called for by L.D. Brown. Well, now it's time, Spencer, for the rest of the country that wants to talk about a narrative being what a narrative is, to think about the Duluth Trading Company hardest working player, who is Charlie Brewer. How about this kid and the leadership virtues he has?
Well, he took care of the football, Tim. He threw it precise. Maybe a couple of times we can be critical of decisions that he made, maybe not protecting the ball, but nobody can say this kid doesn't have heart and he doesn't know how to win. He's got an offensive game plan, and Coach Nixon did a fantastic job of putting it together and putting them in a position where they can come in this place on homecoming and possibly get a win.
Pass is incomplete. Coley Harvey has more on Brewer.
Yeah, well, Tim, it's kind of funny. After that last touchdown, obviously Brewer was among those that celebrated with Jermichael Hasty after that run. And as he's coming back to the bench, he was waving goodbye to the Oklahoma State fans and mouthing it. And they were leaving, as you can see, to the stadium right now. 5
big plays for Baylor today for 322 yards. The other 45 plays went for 210. 5 just huge explosive plays as L.D. Brown carries it up to 35. And I want to just say again, Spencer, we touched on it at the outset. We're talking about one of the great transformational stories in the history. This is the 150th year of college football. Think of where this program was 4 years ago and where it is now.
Well, how long did it take SMU to get back to where they were relevant? Obviously, they had to deal with other issues and sanctions and so forth.
Make a case they're only now getting there.
Absolutely. That's 30 plus 35 years.
Yeah. I mean, this is amazing. When we last saw Baylor play, Jim Grove was in a one-year stint that he knew was a one-year stint. And not sure what was going to happen. Now with a new AD, this guy is your coach. You're talking about a team that could be 9-0 with opportunities to host Texas and Oklahoma in successive weekends.
That's impressive, man.
Pressure coming to Spencer Sanders. Bravion Roy muscles him down. A late flag on the retaliatory move by John Wilson, the center, 72.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 72, that's his first, will be enforced half the distance to the goal, and it's second down.
Typically, you wouldn't be looking at for a redshirt senior.
He's responding to that late hit that upset him from Jordan Williams.
He's trying to protect his guy.
That's one you'll take if you're the coaching staff.
The penalty was enforced 15 yards. It's second down.
But it's just amazing to think in today's world of college football that a reclamation project like this one of Baylor's could be as overlooked as it has been.
Well, you started a great conversation piece because you mentioned SMU and then maybe the job that Bill O'Brien did in a short couple of years he was there at Penn State. But I
June Jones got it.
June Jones got SMU back, yeah.
But never to this point.
Not to this point. I'm just talking about big picture. What are some of the programs that have undergone the types of things that Art Browse unfortunately was involved with here and that this program has dealt with? I can't figure.
There's nothing like it.
There's nothing like this.
We're talking 150 years of college football. There's nothing like it. Oh, there's a ball on the ground, and Baylor should have it. Jordan Williams comes away with it. And now Baylor can line up in a victory formation, you'd think. But I realize the landscape is what it is, and it's about brand name in college football. There, you see he's got the ball high. Williams just plucked it out of there. That was a nice play by the young man. But there's more to college football than that lone narrative. And if Baylor doesn't prove that, I don't know what does.
And they're not even back to full strength now. 2 years, and they've still lost a number of scholarship players.
For an injured player.
They're just now starting to get the depth back that really defined the program prior to the fall. And I'll tell you, they've got the perfect man right there, man. He is a visionary. He understands the challenge and is able and willing to surround himself with people who can fill in the gaps. You know, he flat out told us yesterday, he said, look, I'm never going to be a guru. That's not my deal. You know, I immediately thought because of his background that Moses took him to the promised land, but he never went in. This guy right here is a visionary.
Yeah,
man.
He is.
He's a builder.
And Mike Gundy, for all of the greatness he's brought to this program, he understands it, and they'll bounce back. He's got a freshman quarterback that for a long period of time this program just has not had to deal with. They've had some experienced hands at that position, but he's going to come along. You can see the greatness in the future of Spencer Sanders.
He's going to be fine. He's got great talent. But again, the element of recency comes into play. What happens to you last, you tend to remember most. They got to surround him. 2 weeks may not have been enough.
No, you're right. Take a look at the Coors Light road ahead. Made to chill, celebrate responsibly. This is a Baylor football program that, as we said, has a schedule now that shapes up beautifully. They've got West Virginia, then 2 TCU. That's no walk in the park. Gary Patterson's team is always a tough out. But boy, oh boy, the chances of being 9-0 at home in mid-November with Oklahoma and Texas coming to you. Oh, Drayton McClain Stadium cannot wait for that opportunity, and it'll be a hot topic in Waco this week.
And he's still coaching, Tim. Look at him. Look at his expression. He's not satisfied.
It'll almost be as big as the silos in Waco.
Timeout, Baylor.
Baylor takes the timeout. A little confusing. Always coaching. They take their first of the half. Let's quickly get a game break getting you ready for some ALCS action. Amber, Theo Harris in Los Angeles.
Tim, coming up tonight on FS1, it is Game 6 of the ALCS between the Astros and the Yankees. The Astros with a chance to advance to the World Series tonight. Right now, Houston leads 3 games to 2. The Yankees trying to force a Game 7 to stay alive. First pitch at 8:08 Eastern. The pregame show underway right now on FS1. Tim and Spencer.
Well, Amber, I'm here to tell you, I have probably the only college football analyst in the world today that has a Houston Astros 2017 World Series ring in his midst.
You see it? You see it there?
That's a beautiful ring. So that was just a nice little token that the organization gave you there?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I feel like I'm on one of those little HGB TV commercials. You know? Moving around. Look at this. Look at the diamonds fast.
Almost like a Nick Saban commercial there you are. Yeah, with all those rings on. This is an amazing reclamation, as we mentioned. Here's the visual evidence. Look, what he's done. He is some fixer-upper, isn't he?
Well, the thing I love about him is he clearly understands what he was up against. In season number 1, we talked about it, 1-11, then went to 7-6. And of course, right now they've got as many wins as they did last year. Yep. So they're on their way, man. I mean, this is the Joshua. I mean, again, for you guys out there, please don't be offended by that reference. This guy is a son of a preacher, and he gets that. You know, we had great discussions with him yesterday. It's about taking this team that has this negative narrative, then turning them around and giving them a vision that they can run with.
Spencer, that may be one of the most difficult things in our culture today. Changing the narrative may be exactly the most difficult thing that you can do. And he said, you know, I inherited a program where there were innocent guys that felt guilty. First thing we had to make sure of is that those that weren't involved understood that they weren't. And then we can build and add on and try changing the culture at that point. And the staff that he has around him, too. You know, a guy that's as experienced as Phil Snow, to do what he does with the defense, and to go and grab a guy like Jeff Nixon, who spent time as a running backs coach, most recently in Miami with Reggie Bush as one of his players. That says a lot. Putting a staff together is 9/10 of being successful as a head football coach.
Putting the staff together and then getting the culture to change from some of those disappointed people that were part of the things that happened that was negative in the last regime. That's a challenge right there.
Hasty run down, so Oklahoma State will get it back to close out the game. But I guarantee you, I talked to the sports information director before the game. I said, how much real attention did you get this week? He said, without question, the most we've gotten all year. And by that, I mean not just the usual websites and newspapers, but electronic media for the first time covering Baylor football by sending reporters out that in the past had never happened. Well, guess what? You're going to get more of the same in the following weeks after this 7-0 start, and with what Charlie Brewer has done as your leader.
Well, for me, everything about the success they're having right now is about the leadership. Now, I remember reading some time ago, and hopefully we'll finish it after this play here, but it was the idea that nothing is more difficult to take in hand than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things.
Jelani Woods down by rule. On the other end of the spectrum, remember, this guy's not this Cowboys' first rodeo, and he'll get his team back. No one understands the millennial cohort any better than Mike, whose own son Gunner's a heck of a quarterback in high school and is in his senior year.
Well, 13 straight seasons in which they've had winning seasons and have appeared in a bowl, so not very many coaches can make that claim.
Cowboys have been in this position before, but I dare say the Baylor program never thought this young coach would get them to this position. And trust me when I tell you, at age 44, Matt Rule, he may look as though he's a bit more gray in the brow, but he's forever young in his approach as a head football coach.
You have to get his father on the sideline. He keeps coaching like that.
And Drew Brown gets it up to Logan Carter, and that'll do it.
Well, doctor.
How about this? The Baylor Bears, 18 with a bullet. 7-0 for the first time since 15. And remember, that was a team that shortly thereafter would be long since forgotten, with issues well beyond the game itself. Great show of sportsmanship by Matt going to the freshman quarterback to talk.
Tremendous words of edification there to a young, struggling quarterback, man. That's outstanding to take a moment and whisper into the ear of someone and impart some knowledge.
Sitting on, I think, Spencer, the greatest single story in college football at this very moment. And Coley Harvey has the winners.
Yeah, well, Coach, I mean, all season long, fair or not, you guys have been criticized for not really beating a quality opponent. You came into a veritable Lions den today. You're still undefeated. What does this win mean for Baylor?
Well, I mean, it just means we want to know this week. I think Iowa State's a heck of a football team, and Texas Tech too. So, and I just mean that because we know we played some hard teams. We knew this was going to be a heck of a challenge. And like I told you at halftime, we just had to get away from worrying about winning and just go compete and play. And I thought we did that. I thought this guy was great, the defense. And, they ran that fake punt. We could have just kind of quit. And a bunch of guys stepped up and went and made the plays.
Yeah, now speaking of this guy right here, it seemed like he was in very good rhythm, your quarterback, Charlie Brewer, with his receivers. Why was that able to happen today?
Well, I thought some guys like Josh Fleet stepped up. Taekwon made some great plays. The running game came, and our offensive line just settled down a little bit and allowed him. If you give this guy a couple seconds just to get comfortable, he's gonna do some really good things.
All right, thanks very much, Coach. We're actually going to talk to him right now. Yeah, this is a guy everybody wants to hear from. Charlie, congratulations to you. 2 years ago, if I had said to you with that one-win team that this team would be 7-0 right now, what would you say?
I mean, I'd say we had a chance. We coming up here 2 years ago, pretty much played with a bunch of true freshmen and true sophomores. So there's a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds up here last time. So we're more mature team now, and so I'm not too surprised. But yeah.
Now, one thing about it is that this game, you guys were down by 10 at one point. This is the largest deficit you had to overcome this season. How was that able to happen?
Yeah, I mean, we got a great defense. Offensive line played really good. I thought, in the first half, we really weren't, we're really close to clicking. And, finally in the second half kind of caught our stride and, got some big plays going in the passing game.
You certainly did. Congratulations to you, Charlie. Go celebrate with you guys. Thank you. Back to you, Tim.
All right, Coley. And the head coach, Matt Rhule, is now 39-0 when leading to start a fourth quarter. Our final 45-27. And after this break, we'll rejoin Rob Stone in our Los Angeles studio. So long from Stillwater.